called in
to Bucks and Brews, you might hear something
you can use.
like tips on your cash or tips on the suds.
You're gonna want to
The
use
smarts of these stuff.
because they know the brews.
And they know the Bucks, and they know they can't help the stubborn fucks.
So listen up, because shit's not funny.
And save yourself some
Beer money. Bucks
and brews.
Bucks and
Bucks
and
brews.
brews.
Bucks and Brews.
Welcome back to Bucks and Brews. Nick, you hate this episode every 2 years.
I do. I say it's a room filled with people who
All have advanced degrees.
Do you want to just we can switch and you can?
that'd be great. Like, let's do this. Mine, it's funny because mine comes more opinionated than it comes from a factual statement on political views, right? I will bring in factual things, but I don't have 50 million science and history degrees and what would you have like a fucking doctorate in like political science, right?
No.
No. It's
Bachelor's in politics.
I'll say just a bachelor's, my bad. But like,
Yeah, the highly educated one is joining us via Zoom
yeah, jeez. So,
with his 8 degrees over there.
yeah,
Only
I
3.
used to smoke pot with Johnny Hopkins.
There's Johnny Hopkins and Sloan Kettering.
I did go to school with Ben Bolger though, so that might count for something. He was once one of the most degreed people in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh?
So it is obviously our every 2-year political episode. We're joined by the great Professor David Siwik from Lansing Community College. The great James Lowry over here from
Down the street.
down the street.
I'm just got wandered in here one time.
U of M grad. We're going to talk some of the hot button political issues. We're going to talk finances as it pertains to the 2 nominees, and we're probably going to bitch and moan a lot because that's what we do. Nick, what you drinking?
Oh shit! What I choose? Sorry guys, you put me on the spot. The pineapple list, right? It's like the philanthropist because that's most of these other things. But there's pineapple. So it's Jamaican rum barrel aged barley wine with pineapple, cherry, and Madagascar vanilla. Ooh.
How you feel about that?
I haven't. We had it the one night that we had a few too many.
A few too many.
And so I haven't tried it yet tonight because
Okay.
I'm not feeling barley wine, but I'm gonna do it.
For the people.
For you guys, because this is gonna be a hot topic for me. So, and so you are drinking. So what are you drinking, David?
I'm drinking right now. I'm having from Ludington Bay Brewing Company a vanilla ginger bean cream ale.
Ooh.
Which is very good. And then after that, I have from Hop and Frog the Boris the Crusher Oatmeal Imperial Stout. So I'm excited about that. I knew what 2 people would be drinking tonight. Mr. Lowry, what do you have?
From Dr. Pepper's 7-Up Incorporated in Plano, Texas, I have Diet Barbecue Soda.
Mr. Siwik, don't disappoint.
Do not.
I have a glass of Lansing tap water, City of Lansing tap water, in an aluminum cup.
It's not a coffee mug, though.
No, it isn't. It's an aluminum cup from
Living
the
on the
Ball
edge.
Canning Corporation. So, the same folks that make a beer can, they also make recyclable aluminum cups. And I'm drinking my City of Lansing tap water out of one. So
He threw us a curveball tonight.
I appreciate it. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad I chose this one. It's got the barrel age to it.
Yeah.
It's giving me a little something that I wanted.
A little extra.
I like sour. My taste buds just don't like. If you ask me, I'd be fine with a great Bud Light tonight, right? It's
Well,
just
you
not
could
gonna
have
night
brought
one.
that.
I could have, but that would. I'm trying hard to not do too many beers right now.
Yeah, me too.
I think you said great and Bud Light in the same
He did.
sentence.
Yeah, I'm a Bud Light guy.
He's a millennial. They drink some weird shit.
You like
I didn't know that Bud Light was actually considered beer. I mean, I'm
Wow,
It's all
water.
fucking peep.
Yeah.
We just call it. Yeah, it's water.
All right. First of all, these
Cheap
two aren't
shit
even
alcohol.
drinking anything, and
Yeah,
so
no.
they have no opinion of life. And David, shut up.
I'm drinking Diet Barbecue Soda.
Right, like diet, like
yeah,
I'm
and
an
I'm
old man.
drinking,
the base of Bud Light, right?
water. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I was just going to
He's
say.
got
I'm
3/4 of a Bud Light.
Say you guys are assholes. All right,
No, they-
you know what?
There you go.
All right. So, how many of you guys are voting for Trump? All right, that's good to say.
Did you think anybody was?
No.
I wore my Harris Walz shirt today. This is actually a thing, right? I mean, this is a big deal because I used to actually be an officer in the Republican Party in Michigan.
Yeah.
So this is So I'm
Well-
one of those. I've never been a Trump voter, so I can't say I'm a former Trump voter for Harris, but I'm definitely a Republican for Harris. But even though I haven't, they left me behind decades ago.
Yeah. And that's, I'm hearing that throughout things because I'm still a little young, but like, right, Democrats and Republicans kind of switched.
Well, they switched back in the 30s through 60s, but if I remember correctly, Mr. Siwik was more on the conservative end when we were younger.
That's correct. And, my political situation is one I think that a lot of people are in. My politics have changed as I've gotten older and learned different things about the world, but the Republican Party changed dramatically too.
Yeah.
I can remember when I was in high school in the 1990s, thinking, yeah, a party that believes in small government, but still believes in a government existing. Very important difference there. And one that, was founded by a party that eventually helped end slavery in this country. That sounds like something I would absolutely be for.
Yep.
But, things changed a lot. And when I was 18 years old, I could never have imagined that Donald Trump, the same guy that I used to see in the tabloid aisle, tabloid newspaper section at the grocery store, and I'd laugh reading about his second marriage and, whatever things he and that like were up to. There's no way I could ever imagine, A, that guy would eventually be a serious presidential candidate, B, that he would be serious because others would think the way he does, and then C, this would be a thing for not one election and not two elections, but now a third.
Yeah, and I think I think calling him a serious candidate is maybe a bit generous, but he's being taken seriously for sure.
That's why I had to qualify it with because
others
others want to, believe as he does, at least if he believes in anything, which I'm still not actually sure of.
No.
I will listen while I'm working to a bunch of TikTok lives, and I will listen to leftists debate Trump voters. And the mental gymnastics these people do to try and fit their support for this man into any sense of reality blows me the hell away. Because literally, the minute you ask them a question, they pivot to a different question that has nothing to do with the question that they actually wanted to talk about.
Yep.
I want to talk about immigration. Okay, let's talk about immigration. Why did he kill the Immigration Act that was put forth by one of the most conservative Republican congressmen?
Oh.
Well, yeah, but Roe versus Wade.
Yeah,
Well, wait a minute. That has nothing to do with immigration. Why did you pivot? Well, you didn't answer my question first. But I asked the question first.
Yeah.
And then it just devolves into bullshit. And you sit there and you wonder, do they just have to justify their own racist and misogyny and homophobic tropes?
Well, I think what happened, I think what kind of explains the phenomenon of Donald Trump as a candidate or as a political, person, he's reflective of a certain part of the electorate, right? And it's a part of the electorate that really never turned out to vote. So to say that they were part of the electorate prior to the electorate prior to him coming along, when I was in Republican politics, we'd run into these sort of what we considered even to be like, extreme right-wing goofballs. And the party in those days kind of, regarded them as being useful idiots, right? They would go knock on doors, they would turn out to vote, things like that. But we never really, thought that they were somebody to be taken seriously as a group of people. And he tapped into this sort of, and I think it does have over and undercurrents of misogyny and racism, things like that. But a whole sort of demographic of people who are kind of left behind economically and in other ways, right?
Yeah.
And once he tapped into that,
Very much.
yeah, and I think once he tapped into that, they started to feel empowered. And part of the reason that he was able to do that is because of social media. He never would have been taken seriously by anyone as a political candidate in the 1990s, right? Like when you and I were coming up.
And it's
David.
where the conspiracy theory
exactly
come into
right?
it. I mean, that is the exact type of people that, you're talking about.
And then I'm reminded that when people make decisions that are emotional, when they make decisions that, not based in fact or not based in reality, as you would say, they dig their heels in around that. And it's nearly impossible to turn that around and by using so when someone makes a decision based on emotion and not reason, it's nearly impossible to turn that decision around based on reason. And that's what we're up against en masse right now in this country is 70 million people who have decided that Trump is the person no matter what they see, no matter what they hear, because they like something about him or they like something about what he stands for, what he does, or how he makes them feel. And you're never going to dislodge that through reason and argument.
Well, I know Nick has a question, but I think one of the things that strikes me is the more educated you are, the further left you show up in certain polls. So the more educated we get, the more we have empathy for poor people or gay people or people of color. Whereas when you get very little education, you tend to look down on those people with that higher education and you go, well, they were just indoctrinated. It's just these liberal teachers that are pushing their beliefs on them and they're just stupid enough to understand it. Mind you, you couldn't pass an 8th grade civics test,
Right.
let alone pretend that you have any kind of knowledge on these subjects.
Well, I think that's very true, right? I mean, if you look at how things skew in the electorate, it's very much. I mean, Donald Trump's big supporters. It's interesting that he's lost some ground here. I'd like to talk about this for a little bit later if we might, but is uneducated white people as who he's those are the people that are strongest, in his base, or that, those are the people who have the strongest affinity to him within his base. Those are the people that are least likely to change their minds.
And it's very, I'm going to come across as that, right? The uneducated white person. You know, I grew up poor, right? And so, like, I grew up literally kind of what you guys described. It's nothing I'm proud of. It's very hard to like change the ways and change the mindset and change the thinking. But right, like, as a poor person, like, everybody prides you and then like, oh man, you get a job, oh, you just work real hard and you're gonna do, and so like you're praised because hey, you go work hard, you're gonna make it, kid, and this is what things are. And I'll tell you, I've probably made more money doing fucking way less work than I have ever like actually swinging a hammer in my life, right? Like, I hate to say that, right? I mean, I don't know what you I know you don't really have a physical job necessarily, right? But like you make way more money than the person sweeping the floor, you know? And so, but like he's found that niche in saying, hey, all right, this is what these people believe. Eh, oh, if you're not going to work for it, you don't deserve it. And it's like, no, we're working just to stay poor and just to get where it is. I'd like to see that kind of a statistic on the education wise, because like my feeling, mine's an opinion, is like when you're in that top 10% class, right? Because that's what Trump, he's guaranteeing to kind of get those. It's not a lot of people, right? And then the lower. So I think the middle class is more. There's no middle class, but like, right?
What
I'm thinking that
qualifies,
right? But like, the normal, office people and things like that, guys who aren't working necessarily with their hands as much. I think those are, hey, now we have feelings, we have opinions. We're starting to see things versus the uneducated white people and the very wealthy, right? Up top.
Yeah, I think, Nick, you're identifying the major breakdowns in society writ large, and of course they materialize in our political tribes. The political parties have made worse because they've tried to tap into this tribalism to get more votes, and quite frankly, Trump is the master at this. I don't know that anybody's ever going to do it as well as he has. It's a very old and a very cynical tradition in politics, unfortunately. And I was talking to a colleague just recently about this on Monday. Her and I went for a little walk on our lunch break. And I told her, I says, look, Donald Trump, when he very first entered the political fray in like 2015, I remember talking to somebody, and at the time we were like, yeah, you know what? He would make kind of an idiot for a candidate, but what the heck? He's not going away. And I said to the person I was talking to, I said, Donald Trump would be a really good political candidate in terms of getting votes if he can figure out what Huey Long did in the 1930s in Louisiana, right? And Huey Long, the Kingfish. If you have never seen the movie called Kingfish, where John Goodman plays,
brilliant movie.
Oh yeah,
it is. It's actually a fairly good, historically accurate depiction of him. And Huey Long was an old school populist, which is what Donald Trump tries at least to tap into. the great irony behind all of it is that, Nick, you've identified these, I guess we'll say, three different, cohorts of society, and the disappearing middle class, and you've identified too that there's, I think, a real difference between economic class and maybe, let's just say, educated or social capital class. And Donald Trump has tapped into very, very well that part of society that can be lit up by expressing a few base raw emotions of society, and able to lock that in with people having, quite frankly, a bit of anger and rage about their life maybe not working out the way they wanted to, and they've got an outlet now that's materialized in politics. Donald Trump has never lived 1 second of the life of 99% of the people that vote for him. He was born into a family that has more money than about 25,000 average American families combined would ever have over their entire life. And that's a fraction of the amount of money that he now has access to. Whether or not it's debt is a discussion for another day. He's never worked a second in his life. His dad bought him an education at a university so he would have a transcript, right? It's just a life that's a complete disconnect with every value he claims to express.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter, because the people that support him think he's a god.
Mhm.
Well,
I agree. I mean,
else.
sorry, you have something else?
No, I'm just saying,
yeah.
I'm sighing, saying it's
Yeah.
really remarkable
Yeah.
that this has happened. And of course, I'm speaking tongue in cheek about a lot of this because it's shocking and not in a good way.
It is. I mean, you had mentioned, hey, that he's done one term and then tried, and then he's coming back for a third. Like,
That was David, but yeah.
oh, sorry, and it kind of blew my mind. Like, I knowing about Donald Trump, right? I watched oh, I want to say The Office, but it's not. What's the show? The Apprentice.
Mhm.
And I loved it, right?
Mhm.
Like, as a younger kid, kind of starting business, I was like, man, all right, like you look up to this aspect of things. And it was funny because
Did you see the interview from one of the producers the other day?
no,
Oh, it was
send it to
great.
me.
I'll find it and
It
send
was
it
just
to you.
as a total sham, as a
Yeah.
fraud. The
Yeah,
whole show's a fraud.
it was basically that they had to prop him up and cut it so that he looked competent in the shit he was doing.
Mhm.
Oh, really?
Because the shit he was doing back in The Apprentice is the same shit he's
Yep.
doing right now. I mean, he's just totally unhinged.
And I get it. But say like the show, you can learn some things. You can do some stuff with
I mean, you can learn things
Um,
from any show.
yeah, right.
Put on the fucking Flintstones, you'll learn something.
it. Sorry, you can learn some business things, right? There's some tips out there that if you wanted to. But going forward, it's like I am the first to admit, right? I remember Jesse the Body Ventura running for governor, Arnold, and I made fun of it so much back then. And I still, that's how naive I am, because like even back then I was like, man, no, like who would vote for somebody that does, like, you're just out here
Entertainer.
show, right?
Yeah,
You're,
they're entertainers.
you're strictly, and then I was like, and Trump, and it's funny because like back then people, my brother-in-law, and so he bought me, because my sister used to work at Walgreens, and there was like this Trump from The Apprentice, and they had the life-size cutout, and they're like, here. And so I think it still have it somewhere or whatever, but it's like, all right, here I'm sitting here making fun of this whole thing, going, an entertainer. I mean,
Mhm.
now it's like, oh man, he's that good of a salesman, and the fact that people can believe in it, right? And it just blows my mind that people like this. Your specialty isn't politics. Your specialty isn't knowing bills or anything like that.
No.
Your specialty is to
Remember,
are you
Ronald
not
Reagan.
entertained?
Yeah.
So,
Remember Ronald Reagan? He
Yep.
was an
I
actor.
know I was
Yeah.
too young.
Period.
I
He was an actor.
remember
He
it.
had zero experience doing
Yep.
anything administratively in life, and he was an actor until he became the president of the Screen Actors Guild,
Right.
which is where he gained administrative experience. And he was a union guy.
Yeah.
He was a huge union guy.
So-
He
so-
was even
That's how
a
he-
union guy when he was the governor of California, and then he totally switched
Yep.
because they knew, hey, we can control this guy. He'll say the shit we want him to say.
When he was labeled the great communicator, never has a more accurate label been put on a politician. And whether or not you agreed with a single thing that came out of his mouth, when he talked, you listened. And
Yep.
you know who else, quite frankly, was a great communicator too? Richard Nixon.
Mhm.
Yep.
And Ronald Reagan actually took a lot of his political cues from Richard Nixon. He was a big influence in his political career. They had kind of similar backgrounds, actually,
Mhm.
going way, way back to their youths. And although Nixon came from a much better off household than Reagan did as a child, but politically, they had a similar up and coming.
So-
And it's just interesting that, Reagan being the actor, he had that extra shine on him.
Mhm.
But Donald Trump is tapping into some of the very same things they did. They were more polished and less
Right.
vulgar, right?
Yeah.
But it's the
Because I
same
have the
thing.
historian here, I'm going to ask a question. You may not know the answer, but because you're a historian, you may. So Kennedy ran against who
For president?
for president?
Richard
Hey,
He
Nixon.
ran against Nixon.
Richard Nixon, yeah, it was
Why did Kennedy beat Nixon?
well.
What is pointed to as the reason?
The-
There's a lot of things, but the Catholic vote is one,
Mhm.
It
and
is.
overcoming the apparent, reluctance Americans had up to that point to vote for a Catholic. But ultimately, that was a disputed election in 1960,
Yep.
or at least it would have been if people thought back then the way they do now. And it's a historical fact that it's likely that there was major voter fraud in Illinois
Mhm.
in precincts that were fraudulently given to Kennedy.
But let me ask this: wasn't a huge issue back then how they looked on TV
Well,
in the first
Oh, yeah,
televised
the
The
debate.
televised
Sure,
debate,
sure,
right? And that
yeah.
did have it, yeah. But
And,
so if
and
you,
by the end of the campaign, that
Yeah.
was a deciding factor for a
Right.
lot of people. They did the first televised debate between two presidential candidates, and Nixon had been a very well-known name because he was the vice president for 2 terms under Eisenhower and had made a name as being sort of the great anti-communist. And then, of course, Kennedy was seen as the face of the new America, and he had a campaign that was really predicated on that. The election then had a lot of firsts, one of which, as Dave mentioned, was this televised debate that took place towards the end of the campaign. And Kennedy had agreed to put makeup on before the debate started, and he spent a lot of time practicing for it. Nixon, still relatively new to TV, did not want to have makeup on,
Mhm.
and he evidently was sick with a cold or some type of infection that night, and so he looked quite disheveled on camera.
well, yeah, and he had like a 5 o'clock shadow at 10
Sure.
a.m. like I did as
Anyways,
well, right?
right,
So
because he had a heavy
Yep.
shadow usually. And so when people listened to the debate on the radio, which many did, they said Nixon sounded more informed. But when you interviewed people who watched it on TV, they said Kennedy had won the debate and he looked more presidential.
Yep.
So there you go. He wins
Yeah.
in a very, very close campaign.
And thus the power of television there too, right?
Yep.
And
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
you
and
can see whatever you want, right?
Mhm.
yep. And
Um,
one of the things that I always think is so interesting about that election too, I mean, you could compare it to any presidential election, but you think about nowadays, the different values that people placed in, well, actually listening to a candidate on the issues. So the people that were listening to the debate on the radio really didn't care what they looked like on TV,
Right.
or they still didn't have access to that kind of technology at the time. But then, this is a time where you had these hugely divisive social issues that were starting to tear American society apart, quite frankly. Civil rights. Vietnam War was just over the horizon. It wasn't there yet. Goldwater tried to make it a issue in later on campaigns, but it wasn't really there yet. And you had society that was sort of right on the brink of this huge monumental change as the baby boomers are all coming of age too and starting to enter politics. Now it's interesting because 2024 is sort of the very last chapter of that political story,
Yep.
because all the baby boomers who were teenagers when that was going on in the 1960s, now they're at the end of their, at least some of them are starting to become, at the end of their political life, and candidates and electorate. It's interesting to see. It really is.
Well, and you like to hear the Republican Party all the time, especially now, runs around going, "We're the party of Lincoln." They're not the party of
No.
Lincoln.
Well, no,
that is not the Republican Party of the 1860s.
Well, absolutely not. And they trace their history to that, and you'll hear Democrats say the same thing about about some of the founding fathers, right? Because there's even though they really don't have anything to do with the original Democratic Republican Party that came out of the the I guess second generation of the founders, but
Right.
so they'll talk about Jefferson and things
Yeah,
like that.
they
But
have sort of
yeah.
half in between the first and the second with
Yep.
Jefferson.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think what's what's really interesting is that is the fact that there essentially has been an inversion. Well, now under Trump, the Republican Party has become a personality cult. That's really all that it is. It's really all it can be described as. Is not a political party at all, right?
Mhm.
except in the very strictest sense of the word, in that they're out to get votes. But beyond that, it doesn't have any of the other characteristics of a political party. But having said that, the party's inverted, and like you said, between like the 30s and the 60s, right? There was a big inversion where the kind of the entrenched Southern Democrats, who were known to be like the racist and opposed
The Dixiecrat.
yeah, and but they opposed civil rights and all that,
Mhm.
and then and it was actually the Republicans in 19 that that really got the Civil Rights Act of 1965 passed, and then things just kind of inverted, particularly as we went kind of through the 70s and into the 80s with Reagan and things like that. The sort of the appeal and policy positions of those parties completely changed. So the Republicans to harken back to for either party really to harken back to their roots that way is it just doesn't reflect anything that's existed in the last 40 years.
Well, if you want to do a
It's
case study,
problematic.
Strom Thurmond is the best case study you could do because he was a Democrat.
Right.
And all of a sudden,
Filibustered the Civil Rights Act.
Yeah.
absolutely, all of a sudden, Democrats weren't going to be racist anymore. So Strom Thurmond's like, all right, well, I can't be a Democrat anymore. Now I'm going to be a Republican.
Well, and then ran independently between those.
Yeah.
two. Yeah.
Yep.
That for president.
Because, of course, he didn't feel like he had a party anymore because Democrats were so racist. I mean, they started the KKK.
Oh, yeah.
You hear this shit all the time.
Yep.
The Democratic Party started the KKK. Right. They did horrible shit back in the day. They don't do
1800s.
as much horrible shit now.
The Republican Party also temporarily ended the KKK in the 1870s
Yeah.
and brought it back
Mm-hmm.
in many places in the 1990s down south.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to ask this
so-
question because we have four very different voters here.
Mhm.
Who considers themselves a Republican that's sitting here? Raise your hand. Who considers themselves a Democrat?
Really? Say none of us. This is great.
Who considers themselves totally independent?
Say all four. Yeah, that's great. It's like if I have to, here's the problem: is like straight. You ask Republican, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to. But like, it's funny because I think society and I tell you this, we talk about this on air all the fucking time. I hate it so much. All right, so society to me is the stupidest fucking people I've ever met in my life, and I try so hard for you guys. I do, but you guys fail me all the time. Right, but like, okay, there's four of us that all agree that we're independent. But you're wearing a Harris fucking Walls shirt.
Absolutely.
I don't know, Siwik, you haven't come out and said. I know David's fucking going Harris Walls, right?
I already voted for it.
I already voted for Harris.
There's a fucking fact, like, but again, honestly, the four of us could probably agree that there's a better candidate who's an independent who's going to do
100%.
so much better. If we sit and drink beers and just
Can they win?
right, that's the problem. The fact is too many Americans, too many people are like, well, this, and so
I can
I'm
find
hoping
an independent that can win in a local level.
maybe
It's
Local. I'm saying like in
can't.
Byron Center.
maybe
No,
say
no,
that's the
you
problem.
I
Yes.
cannot find a local candidate or a independent candidate that can
At a
win
state-
at a state
here's
level.
the problem. Here's the problem.
David's
And
got the answer.
Oh, David's got the. Let's
Well,
hear.
no, he
it.
does.
I'm
No, he
excited.
does.
I know the problem. I don't know the answer.
Oh,
the
shit.
problem.
No, I mean you have the answers to why that is, though.
Yeah,
right?
I mean
yeah.
it's because we have single member
Yep.
representation.
God,
If
yes.
so
Winner take
our-
all.
our Congress is really the first of the modern democracies in the world. And every other democracy, including our neighbors to the north, have a thing called a parliament.
Yep.
And in parliaments, political parties can form coalitions a lot easier. And if you have a parliament that's set up like the one in, say, Germany or Mexico's is, and in that case, you actually can have, well, Mexico's a bad example.
Say,
Well,
Recently, especially. France, a
Yeah.
better example. In France, for example, you have parties that are as wild as the communists that will sometimes form coalitions with very conservative parties because their electorate doesn't only have to choose between one candidate.
Exactly.
Instead,
Proportional
they
representation.
have this thing called proportional representation. The way it works is essentially one voting district has several candidates, and you vote for one or two or three or however many, depending on how the election is set up and how many candidates are in that district.
Yep.
And the candidates, however many votes or percentage of votes your political party gets, is how many candidates go from
Yeah,
that party.
exactly. Yep.
Right. So
Yep.
if you had, let's say you had 20 members of Congress that were from West Michigan. Okay, when you went to vote, you voted for the Republicans, or you
Yep.
voted for the Democrats, and you could choose from a dozen candidates or a variety of party selections. And in the end, if 60% of the people in West Michigan voted for the Republican Party, they would get 12 of those delegates.
Yep.
And if 40% of the people in West Michigan voted for the Democratic Party, they would get 8 of those
Right.
delegates. And if that happens in every voting district, what you end up having is a blended political party system instead of one candidate wins all
Exactly.
of the power from one district. So
See, and I'm a big proponent of ranked voting. Instead of
what they do
voting
in
for,
Ireland.
instead of voting for, Harris or Trump, there's what, 5 or 6 candidates.
Right. In,
Yep.
So
Mhm.
Harris
how they do it in
1,
Ireland.
Stein 2, the Libertarian 3, the Kennedy 4, even
And
though
then right-
Kennedy's not running anymore, and
right
Trump
into the
5.
people, yeah.
Sure. Yep.
And if you do that, you give people an actual true option of what do they not only value, but what are they looking for. So I'm looking for, I like a leftist agenda because I want to take care of people, because even though I'm an asshole, I do give a shit about people.
Yeah,
So
I
rank-
suffer from the same problem, Dave. It's okay.
I mean, that happens. So I rank them in terms of what I'm looking for. And you take the electoral process and you throw it out the fucking window because it's based in racism and bullshit.
You're talking about the electoral
Right.
college.
Correct.
Yeah, I just say, I don't. It's hard. I was just looking that up, to try to figure out exactly kind of where things are, and it's you look at what Democrats and Republicans, right? So most of your Dems are on the East and West Coast.
Yep.
We're mixed in the Midwest. But like your Republicans are all through the middle, and I don't know if it's going to get
Well, it's
shown.
based on population.
But here's the question: where do the people live?
Yeah.
And
That's
the thing,
the
okay.
that,
So
yeah,
all of the
and you
stuff
gotta
here,
look at the county level, really.
right?
That,
All the stuff here though is it's the old school stuff, right? It's family generations of farmers. It's your miners who like they have done, and so it's just all these old people, and all the new people are the young kids are out on the side, and but you have all these guys who in Texas they're just fucked up, but like Florida, why does every old person with $1 to rub together live in Florida? There's no income tax, right?
Right.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, my parents live in Florida and in
that
Michigan.
and it's
Where do they-
warm.
say that, well, the hurricanes they hate, but
You look at some of the truly Republican issues. So
yeah,
one of the things that Trump runs on is I'll bring manufacturing jobs back. So let's talk about manufacturing jobs for a minute, because I pulled stats because I love numbers. So in the 4 years that Trump was president, he lost over 150,000 manufacturing jobs, 80,000 of them in auto. What is Michigan known for, anyone?
Petoskey Stones.
Well,
Bitch, did I get it right?
No.
Give me candy. No,
When he was in Detroit, last week, he said that, basically, the whole country's going to turn into you.
say yeah.
Right.
If Harris wins, the
If you
whole
don't
country,
vote me,
right,
but
baby.
How are you getting votes when you go,
he
if Harris
also
wins, everybody's going to be as shitty as you are?
Well, here's the thing about that is so. I actually think autos and what happens here in Michigan.
Yeah.
Autos is going to probably decide the election here.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a telltale sign, in all seriousness, to what's going to be the future of this country for the next 20 years. Because Donald Trump was like about if he was at the Detroit Economic Club, I don't know I think it was actually at the Country Club. So let's say he was on the north side of Detroit, right? He's 2 miles from the old train station that was just opened 2 weeks ago officially as the new headquarters to one of 3 companies the Ford Motor Company has split itself into. And that company, one of the things it's going to do is be the headquarters of Ford's entire electric vehicle future. And according to Ford, that is their entire future. Okay. So Donald Trump says he's going to bring manufacturing back. I can tell you right now, because of the work I have with my employer, that right here in Lansing, we have one of the largest battery factories in the country being built. It could employ thousands of people at one time. General Motors Corporation is building it. They're building it right across the street from a factory that takes up about 2 square miles and employs 3,500 people. And the reason why they're doing that is because that is going to be the future of a big product in that entire company's portfolio. Okay. That is manufacturing. That's electric cars. Guess what? The company that GM entered into a business venture with to build that factory is headquartered out of South Korea. So it's not
Okay.
as simple as JD Vance going to Mecosta County and saying,
Sir, we don't call him that. We call him couch fucker around here.
okay, it's not as simple as him going to Mecosta County and telling a farmer there who doesn't quite frankly know jack shit about the automobile industry, even though it's 100 freaking miles from his field downstate, that guess what? The Chinese want to build an auto factory in your county.
The Chinese,
Jesus
Jesus.
doesn't want it, and it's going to take your jobs away. I mean, the religious nut job part of it aside, every other thing you said is actually the complete opposite of the truth.
And because what they're doing is talking, instead of talking about, again, the future, right? Which is what actually attracted me. And I'm not just voting for Kamala Harris because she's not Trump, by the way. I actually voted for her. And she really is talking about the future, right? Talking about clean energy, talking about the sort of opportunity economy that doesn't exist today. And I think one of the things I think she hasn't really made her case about is that, right? Like she wants to put the United States in a position to be, as we start to, I think, segue into the Bucks part of Bucks and Brews, right?
Yeah.
As she wants to set the United States up, and I think she should be running hard on the Infrastructure Act, right? And the Inflation Reduction Act, and those things that they're doing just to put the United States on a strong footing for that future economy. And what Donald Trump and JD Vance are pandering to, and I say pandering, they're pandering to the buggy whip makers and the telephone operators.
Well, back to our manufacturing jobs for a minute here
please,
before you, Nick.
please.
So Biden Harris have brought back over 750,000 manufacturing jobs. What does that mean?
Is that how you guys always do this? I mean,
that's how it's set up.
Sorry. So you would say Biden Harris. So she gets credit for what he's done.
Well, so if she's going to have to take the blame for what he's done, then she gets the credit for what he's done.
I would agree. So again,
I'm just trying to figure out. So
they sit there.
Are we doing Donald Trump and fucking Pence? Like this Pence?
So
he's already.
Hang on. So they go back all the time to you've been vice president for 4 years. Why haven't you already done this? Because the vice president has no fucking power whatsoever. That's why. So if you want to look at an administration, because of course,
don't let me forget my favorite quote about the vice presidents from John Adams. But continue.
Oh no! So sorry. Go ahead, please, David. You're on the rant.
Yeah, let me finish. So when you look at it, if you want to blame the fucking vice president for this shit, that's fine. But you have to sit there and say, what do they actually have control over? Oh yeah, they don't have control over shit. You know what they have control over? Yep. Tiebreakers in the Senate. That's what they have control over.
Which there's been the most of.
Yep.
Right?
There has.
So, are you done?
I want to hear what David has.
About John Adams.
Unmute. There we go.
James beat me to it. John Adams, my favorite quote about the vice president. He said, likened it to drinking a quart of spit. That's what he said. Being elected vice president was like being forced to drink a quart of spit.
Yeah.
I get the. I think he was trying to say it was an offensive alternative to being served a quart of something better. And who knows what something better would have been for him because, he had problems with alcohol in the family. Not him. But anyways, the point of that is it's not a office that has much power granted to it, of course. It's always supposed to have been the backup guy. And remember, very early on in America's history, it was elected separately.
Right.
Okay.
But I loved it.
Well, and I think as president of the Senate, they were intended to have more power too than they currently do.
And the Senate was intended to be a body that represented something differently than what it does now.
Right.
Because at one time, senators were actually selected by state legislatures, and they were intended to represent sort of the state government interest more than the state people's interest.
Exactly.
Well, again, I think that's why when you get into these, educated versus non-educated people. The non-educated people are always going, well, she's had 4 years to do this, that, and the other thing. And the educated people are like, yeah, that's not how government works. As a president, you don't just get to do the shit you want to
Vice
do.
president. Well,
Yeah.
even as
Wait,
president,
he's
don't
even
even-
as
no,
the
you're right,
president.
you're right.
Yeah,
So
even as
again, 3 of us here grew up on Schoolhouse Rock.
I grew up a little bit on it. Don't,
I mean, you
I'm
were
just a Bill. Living
that's exactly what I'm thinking of.
No.
So I'm just the bill. You sat there and you listened to that fucking song, and it told you how a bill worked.
Right.
And
Mm.
at no point in there did the bill go, the president decided I want this and I just get to do this. That's not the way it works.
But that's
Now,
what
in
Trump.
Article 1 of the Constitution, I always tell people this. I tell my students this all the
I
time.
love this.
There is one of the biggest myths that has to be corrected in our education system is the idea that we have 3 co-equal branches
Right,
of government.
exactly.
We do not.
Nope.
The Constitution creates a very strong Congress that has almost all of the power. The president is supposed to be an overseer who, when things are really screwed up, steps in to correct it from getting even worse. And if the nation goes to war,
Right.
he leads the troops. The Supreme Court, the Constitution grants it hardly any power. It gives Congress the authority to create the Supreme Court, decide how many justices are going to be on there, decide their tenure, and if the Congress wanted to, it could pass a law that completely dissolved the Supreme Court and reformed it entirely new, because the Constitution gives it that authority.
I swear you're fucking Republican. I do. I probably
was.
I know, like because again, like David and I, like it's funny because normal life, if I didn't meet him, we wouldn't be best friends, but like we are so much more best friends now. But, like because like I'm a constitutional person, which makes me Republican in the sense, but like I absolutely agree with what you're saying. This is what it's meant for. I will say, right, and we talked about it. Donald Trump figured out the fucking greatest way. He just said, you know what? I'll take the fucking whippings, veto this, veto, and power, right? Power, executive power.
Yeah.
It's in. If you want to fight it, go waste your fucking 17 months trying to overturn what I just put into effect. Power, veto, and like so. I know you guys hate it. That pisses me off that Biden isn't doing it because, granted, I think America is so fucked that it needs to change that, and like nobody learned from how much power this motherfucker had. And then we go into, and again, this becomes opinion, and I hate to do that, but like, right, we go into the fact that the Supreme Court literally just said, hey, you know what? The president doesn't get to get he gets a hand slap for anything that he possibly does.
Whatever he wants.
It's just a little fucking hand slap, and it's like, holy shit, the amount of power you just gave one human being in the United States to do this, it just blows my mind. But like, Mr. Siwik, like I am a constitutional guy because like I believe that back in the day, these guys said, hey, the rest of the world sucks ass. We're going over to a new land and we can create and develop something that's so much better.
You know where the Supreme Court
started
used to meet? You know where they used to meet until the 1920s?
No.
They did not have their own building.
No.
They didn't. And the reason why they had their own building is because a guy who, when he was a little boy, wanted to grow up and be a Supreme Court justice, but didn't become one. He became president first and then became a Supreme Court justice. That would be William Howard Taft. Got the building that they're in now built because Taft understood that the Supreme Court for its entire existence always had to justify its existence because the Constitution grants it hardly any of the authority that it has granted itself through a couple hundred years of existence. And Taft knew the way you kept that institution powerful is you made it look really, really powerful, and you gave those justices the big new shiny building that had its own address, and it wasn't in the Senate anymore or the old Senate chamber and the other places the court had met from various times, because it took and it literally removed the overseeing authority of that court from where it had belonged before, which is the Congress. When I was I think 16, I read a book by Robert Bork, and Robert Bork was one of Ronald Reagan's nominees to the Supreme Court. Okay. And he got his nomination was rejected by the Senate in the 1980s. And this was like unheard of at the time. It didn't happen very often. The term nowadays for a Supreme Court nominee by the president being rejected by the Senate comes from Robert Bork's rejection. It's called to Bork a justice nomination. Okay. Merrick Garland, the current Attorney General, his nomination was borked at the end of the Obama administration. So Robert Bork wrote a book in the 1990s called Slouching Towards Gomorrah. Okay. Yeah. Now, I actually read this book when I was in high school.
Of course you did.
Right? Sorry. And it was sort of a bitter conservative jurist's treatise on what he thought was all the bad things that were happening, but really what was coming to America. And being a kid, I thought, yeah, I want to know about the future. This is pretty interesting. I mean, geez, this is my future, I guess. And after I got done reading the book, I actually disagreed with a lot of it. And I thought I was real adult at the time for being able to have an opinion on something that I read that, sounded really smart. But here's why I'm mentioning that. One of the big, huge parts of that book that I didn't disagree with at the time was Bork explaining how little authority the Supreme Court actually is supposed to have according to the Constitution. Yep. And he had this idea that he said, and he didn't even think it would take a constitutional amendment, that all Congress would have to do is rewrite the Judicial Act, which created the Supreme Court to begin with, and they could give themselves the power to veto Supreme Court decisions because the Congress doesn't even give the court the authority it claims to have to begin with.
They took that, right? Marbury versus Madison.
Yeah.
Right. And I was, at the time I thought this is an interesting argument. I didn't have any of my teachers telling me this in school, that's for sure. And I was literate by the time I was 16. I could pick up a copy of the Constitution. I already read it several times and said, wow, he's right. There's only like 3 paragraphs in there about the Supreme Court.
Oh, all right. And that's the idea that, right, it bothers me, right? The whole fact that Trump's out here, I overturned Roe versus Wade. Sure, right? The idea that it is not just guaranteed out there, but the fact is like it goes to a state level, right? Now that each state goes back to opinion, right? Where the fact is like if you leave your state to go be something else, I said it on there and I'll say it again, right? If you need an address for a fucking house that you reside in the state of Michigan, I will gladly give you my fucking personal home address. And you know what? I will be that guy who has 100,000 fucking people to live in his primary address, right? Like, pay a little extra taxes.
The problem is these pro-birth people are the fucking dog chasing the car, and they keep moving the goalposts every time they get it. So now they got Roe overturned, and it's a state's issue. That's what we all wanted until it turns to we want a national ban on abortion, now they're chasing that car.
That's the problem. You give them an inch, they take a fucking mile.
100%, and you sit there and you look at who has the least amount of abortions. People that have access to
men. I'm going to say men.
People that have had actual sex education courses, not abstinence only. Because let's face it, we're all men here. You tell us abstinent only at 12, 13 years old. What are we thinking?
Tube sock, baby.
Fuck off.
Right.
Okay. I mean, none of us are sitting there going, yeah, that's a great idea. I'm just not going to, hit that.
Yeah.
And should we? Yeah, we should be taught better. But
that's the problem. I was taught abstinence, and this is personal information coming out, right? Like 12 years old, I was the first person to go out and lose mine, right? Like
you weren't taught abstinence, and you're saying that
no, I was taught it, right? Like
you're saying that yeah.
I don't want to get into too much, but like still,
Well, we're certainly identifying contradictions in the J.D. Vance
I guess what I'm saying is like
of how we might populate American society, aren't we? Because we cannot have abstinent kids and procreating people at the same time.
Right.
I'll leave that detail aside.
But what I'm saying is like you're saying that there was a 12-year-old student that didn't get 100% on something.
Oh fuck! I failed.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
you say.
But when you really listen to
it's hard for me because it's one of the subjects. So I'm running for school board for Jenison, right? And Jenison is actually not up to standard on their sex education, and it needs to happen because the state has their level. And gosh, I want this episode to go for like 20 hours. But So Trump's trying to get rid of the whole like Board of Education, this
Yeah.
and that, blah blah blah. But anyway,
I
so
have to
like
duck
it is
out in 15 myself.
Yep.
Actually
15.
about
No, sir, you have to stay at least another hour after that.
I
I
can't.
get-
I
Um,
got,
okay,
I
till
gotta be
7:30.
out of here by 7. I'm sorry.
my right, so now my wife, like I'm running for board. My wife now wants to run for that board of the sex education
Mhm.
aspect, and it's like because we don't need another stupid Nick, right? Like it's like we don't,
Not wrong.
we don't need this, like, and so
But,
you know,
but you need something that, what you're saying is we need to teach people something that works.
oh
Correct.
God, yes, right,
Right.
and,
And I think yeah.
Well, again,
And-
you sit there and you look at the anti-abortion thing. So let's say we implemented mandatory vasectomies at 11.
I seen this video.
If every boy has a vasectomy, nobody gets pregnant. Well, we can't possibly do that. Why would you force a man to do something with their body?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right,
Let's-
motherfucker.
Right,
That's
I
what we're
have a
talking
colleague
about.
that I
right. Go ahead, David, please.
he has his version of this. A friend of mine, he says, well, I don't know how vulgar I want to get this.
Go ahead.
Let's put it this way.
We
He
get
says
vulgar.
there is more than one way of destroying a component of procreation after it is created and before it has been put to God's intended use.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
And he
see,
says, yeah,
It's funny,
I'll leave that
because-
to your imagination. But
Right.
I'm always fascinated to see how society's values shift over time and how quickly it happens.
it sucks.
Dave, it is a moving car and a moving target as you identify with abortion. But here's the deal. Society has proven time and time again that the car is not moving away from your point of view. It's moving away from the people who want to keep it banned.
Yep.
Even in super conservative Kentucky and Kansas over the last 2 years, voters have, by fairly large
Very large.
voted
Yeah.
to enshrine constitutional protection of abortion
Mhm.
into their state constitutions. And actually, what the Roe versus Wade overturning did is, in some ways, it made it harder to ban abortion in
Mhm.
places like Michigan, because now what the Supreme Court has said is, well, a state like Michigan, if you enshrine that in your state constitution,
It's
no
Yep.
longer consider it because it's not a federal issue.
Yep.
And
Gosh,
Donald Trump was the ultimate useful idiot for a
Mhm.
variety of actually competing special interests.
Exactly.
That all
oh
thought
yes,
they were going to outcompete the other guy, right? So, for example, there were people who gave money to the first Trump campaign that actually wanted to see Congress kill a whole slew of abortion bills immigration bills because they had it in their economic interests to
Yep.
keep illegal
Absolutely.
immigration flowing into this country.
That
But at
gets
the
back
same
to that
time,
billionaire
we had-
class we were talking about, right?
Yep.
That supported. Mhm.
Exactly. But at the same time, you had the anti-immigration folks that gave tons of money to him. Why? Because on one week he would campaign to one group, the other
Yep.
week he would campaign to the other, and they all thought he was stupid enough, and they were smart enough that their special interest is going to be the one that
They
got
can
these
manipulate.
idiot,
Mhm.
right? And what happened was they didn't realize that Donald Trump was like a hose that's got 3 inlets and 17 outlets. Water goes everywhere, no matter
I
where you
love
put
it.
it in,
Oh.
right? And if that water's got money, it's going to be going in a bunch of tubs that he
Exactly, yeah.
collects in the end.
Mhm.
That's how it works with him.
Well, he's
Oh.
he had, you're talking about like his positions and policy. It just makes me so angry when people say, particularly when they say, well, we haven't heard that, Kamala Harris doesn't have any policies. Well, what she has are actual policies, right?
Right.
What he has aren't even concepts of plans. What
Actually,
he
I
has
think-
are
no.
transactions.
No.
He's completely transactional.
I think what he said was, "I have an idea."
He said he has a concept of a
Concept of a
plan.
plan.
Is that what
But
it
he's had a
was?
concept of a
I
plan
don't have-
to replace
Obamacare.
the Affordable Care
Mind you,
Act.
it's not like he had
since
another 4 extra
2016.
years. So Mr. Siwik, I know we're gonna get rid of you, so I'm gonna ask a few quick things. These are opinionated things because I want your opinion.
Ask away.
Um,
I'll promise short answers.
Say no. Do you like the electoral vote or a popular vote?
Electoral college versus a
Yeah, say,
popular election
versus a popular. Say
It has to be a popular vote. You cannot have a country that has 200 million people to vote in an election, and by a substantial margin, millions vote for the person who does not end up becoming president, and it is completely legal and constitutional that that happens. You can't have that. You're going to have unrest, if nothing else. And quite frankly, nothing of the sort of January 6th would have ever happened
Agreed.
had the Electoral College been done away with eons ago, which it should have been.
Most of my disrespect for a human. Oh God, anyway. So you agree?
I absolutely agree.
Agree?
100%.
Okay, so great. So that was
Republicans have
that was
won one popular vote in the last 40 years.
which is fun. So all right, you had mentioned way earlier in this episode about white people and slash conspiracy theorist. I'm gonna let you know. So we're gonna get into it here in a second. But like conspiracy theories, do you believe in them? Do you follow them? And then I'm gonna go even farther. Sorry. So there's a conspiracy that I'm afraid of, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But the fact is like I've seen a video or two of people standing on the side of the road by the post office going, "Hey, I'll take your ballot and blah blah blah, and we'll make sure it gets turned in." Do you believe in conspiracy theories and that people are trying to rig the election or change the outcome of the election?
Use common sense. What is
No,
so
that-
hard
no,
about common
I've
sense? If
learned.
some
I've
dude's
learned.
standing by you on the road and he says, "Give me your belt," tell him to go fuck himself.
So
That's
the
the
problem
correct
is America
answer to
doesn't have
that.
common sense, baby.
Right?
Yeah,
Tell
common sense
him,
is
go
an
fuck
uncommon-
yourself.
is an
Now,
uncommon
with
asset.
that said, that's the solution to that problem.
Yeah.
A conspiracy is defined as
Say.
a secret plan. It
Yeah.
usually involves some sort of a saboteur, and it involves a lot of chicanery and underground activity. I'm not sure that there is a single thing Donald Trump has done or has proposed that has not been very well known. So, in
Right.
terms of him, and there being some type of conspiracy to what he's going to do if he becomes, president again, hey, I don't
Okay.
think that's even possible. Now, the other quote unquote conspiracy theories out there, again, I use common sense. I mean, I'm profoundly shocked at how stupid people are.
Oh shit, we did this.
Right? But I mean common sense, and I mean that when I say it, not in the way it comes off as willingly stupid. Okay.
Well, yeah.
For example, a hurricane just went through your town, and it's pretty obvious as to what's going on, right? Storm had 150-mile-an-hour winds that blew the roof off your house.
Actually,
It's
what I heard
absolutely
from my family
obvious.
is
Yeah.
Now-
a machine came and made it bigger.
Yeah.
That's what
Well,
my
no, it's even dumber than that.
Put forth
actually.
by the Democrats.
It's even
Correct.
dumber than that. Actually.
Have you met my family?
No, but there's one that's even dumber than that. Okay?
Is it really? I have to hear
Yeah.
this shit. Let's go.
So, I mean, the airplane that you fly on did it.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No way.
But
People are
here's
saying
the-
this. Yeah, this,
Right,
this,
and
this is my dad.
There's no
I'm telling
common
you.
sense on any of this, but the
My own
conspiracy
father.
theories go back as long as there's been misinformation.
And there really has. And that's the whole thing that just really gets me. But okay, so I don't believe in conspiracy. It's weird because I do think it's kind of a conspiracy about this whole oh, it's a fraud, it's whatever. But so
But
I guess
stop
I'm gonna
yourself. Hang on a
jump.
minute. Stop
Please.
yourself. What is
Okay.
what?
Right.
What is the I
I
think
haven't
might be-
seen
what,
anybody-
What might be there?
I haven't seen anybody in my area because I've only seen one video of a person saying, "Hey, give me your thing and I'll
You
take
saw
care
a
of."
video. What did you see?
A random person standing on the side of the road by a post office going, "Hey, drop your ballots. We'll make sure they get rush delivered." So it could have been fake. It could have been everything.
Mhm.
And now people are saying, "Hey, don't do this aspect." But I'm going on vacation. I'm running for nothing.
Hang on. I got to ask this
Hold
before
on.
we lose him.
No, we have multiple things before we lose him.
Yeah, but I got to ask this before
Go
we
ahead.
lose him.
6 minutes do you have, David? You said 7 o'clock?
This,
Go
He's going
ahead.
to give me
Yeah.
a little longer.
this,
Go ahead.
this will answer a lot for me. So we have three people that love history here.
Yep.
Let's go back to the biggest conspiracy theory of all time.
JFK
Kennedy.
assassination.
Yes.
Did Oswald act alone? Did Oswald
My-
kill Kennedy?
Here's the thing. The Kennedy conspiracy. My dad,
Uh-huh.
who you saw somewhat recently,
Yes.
Dave.
Yeah, it's like,
He sums it up the best. The reason why people believe in the Kennedy conspiracy theories is because nobody wants to believe that a nothing man
make that
who
shot.
wanted to accomplish something did that.
Yep.
But that is exactly what happened.
You know, I say with this is respect from me to you. You're so much more like your father than you ever wanted to be. God, you're just filled with wisdom, baby.
So
All
go
right.
to your questions now that we have the answer
I
to
learned
those.
well from my dad. He's
So,
a very smart man.
so we talk about conspiracy theory. All right, here we go. Opinion. Okay, so we kind of talked about like the fact that like Republicans are doubling down and things like that. So my question is, here, this is an opinionated question. Do you feel that there is more Republicans today than there was 4 years ago?
As a percentage of the electorate, no, I think it's
Sure.
probably about the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're just being more assholes now, like, and so they're coming out louder and louder.
I don't think those are Republicans. Again, those are Trumpists.
Well,
I
Let's
think
call it
that,
Republican. I mean,
I think whoever is able to, blow his horn loud nowadays gets heard. There's
when you talk about people being
infinite
assholes,
amount of opportunities
I-
to
what
spread
are you talking
this.
about? Like on social media?
no. So that's
Everywhere.
that's gonna be my next one. But like, so
Yep.
do you feel that? Okay, so you feel there's more Republicans today than there was 4 years ago for Donald Trump to get the vote?
No, I don't think that there may be
No.
a few more people. I think he's made some inroads into some demographics that he hasn't gotten in the past, but he's lost some as well. So I think net there aren't. It's going
I
to come
agree.
down to turnout, and I think that and I think that in terms of like what you're seeing out there with people's signs and driving around with pickup trucks with flags on and stuff, yeah, they've become more emboldened.
They become very much more loud,
and
but it's the same people from 4 years ago just doubling down.
Yeah, for the most
is
part.
what you would agree. Okay, so
There's some more people have come in, some people have left. Either they
Yeah, I
died
think-
or whatever, right?
I think that's it. If we lost 100 Trump voters, we gained 100 Trump
Yep.
voters. And it's
really,
a
you,
lot.
you think new Trump voters are coming in? So you're
At the
thinking
same
it's
rate.
equal for 100 to come in as 100 dying?
I think so.
Really?
Just
Wow. Okay.
not necessarily dying, just for a variety of
leaving,
reasons.
right? Whether they don't agree, whether they're changing.
Drop back out of politics.
Honestly, I have a friend of mine who has been gayer than gay for since he was 2. He just posted on Facebook. I love him to pieces, and this is his first ever election, and he is 60.
Mhm.
Right? I don't know
Yeah.
this, but like, right? He goes, "Oh, I'm very sad to admit this is my first ever election." Now, like, I have never once missed a single part of it because, again, I believe this is my constitutional
But-
right
It's our duty.
to fucking do
Yep,
something as
absolutely.
an American.
Think about though.
Vote and
Think
jury
about
Absolutely. Say this guy and I get it. But
so
please,
Dave, that's unique, or Nick, that's a unique circumstance that would introduce a new voter into the electorate. Think about new circumstances that would make people that you wouldn't ever thought of 4 years ago vote differently. Dearborn has a very large Palestinian
Yep.
American electorate, okay? Larger than anywhere else in the entire country. They voted overwhelmingly for Joe Biden in 2020. If Michigan is lost by 10,000 votes to Kamala
it.
Harris, there are like 3 neighborhoods in Dearborn that she would have lost possibly the entire election over.
Yep.
because they
We
won't
can't-
vote for a woman.
There's no way
No,
you-
because
They won't vote for her because of
Because they
genocide,
think-
Joe.
they think
They
that
think
what's
that she's
happening in
propping
Gaza.
up Israel.
Israel, and they
Yep.
somehow think
Thank
that
you.
the
Thank you for
Donald
clearing
Trump
that up.
administration is going to bring an end to the Israeli war against
Yeah.
Palestine, even though
Yeah.
it won't. The Israelis have made it clear they don't really care right now what the Americans think.
Well-
They're going to do what they want.
Right.
Well,
And-
we run
and-
into that all the time. I
But
mean, we may be
it's-
the most powerful nation supposedly in the world, but
We are.
we don't control everybody else.
And at a domestic level, we have all of these things that are happening outside of the control of the United States, but at the same time can have, I hate to use the word quirk because it seems to trivialize it, but let's just say have a unique one-off effect that by really odd circumstances could change the whole outcome of the election. In 1960, to go back to that election, and then I got to run. But in 1960, a similar thing happened, right? You had a few precincts in the city of Chicago that probably a handful of people for the first time in their life were A, voting, and B, were voting for a Roman Catholic candidate. At the same time, there's a lot of corruption going on in those
Yep, that's
same
right.
precincts, right? So it might have been 3 neighborhoods in the city of Chicago that changed the entire course of history. And that could happen in this election. It could be in Michigan.
And
It could be in, actually, believe it or not, if we didn't have the Electoral College, this wouldn't even be an
Nope.
issue.
Yep.
Not even close.
But
I
there you
have
go.
I have three more questions. Two
Sure.
of them will be quick. The third one, are you willing to stay for three questions?
Yeah, make them quick.
Awesome. Here we go. All right. So if Donald Trump loses, what happens, and does he run again 4 years from now?
Well, the Constitution would have to get changed for him to run again 4 years from now.
Okay.
So I'm going to say he won't. And on top of that, what happens if he wins? Okay, the country moves on. There's going to be Donald Trump in the White House. He will have probably more constraint than the people that are super afraid right now think he will. But at the same time, he has been emboldened by a Supreme Court that is now has three very intellectually weak jurists on it. It has two other jurists that probably are just going to do whatever the heck they think the Chief Justice wants them to do. And then we have the Chief Justice that's running around like a chicken with his head cut off, that's created
Sick.
most of the mess
Yep.
on his court. And he throws his hands up and says, I don't understand why my court's politicized.
Yeah. 'Cause you're
I agree.
So that's going to be the future. Is it going to be the end of the country? No. Is the
And I'll-
country going to be a shitstorm mess, worse off in 4 years than it is right now? Yes.
I'll ask you this question before you have to leave. So
I
don't
believe
worry.
it 7:30.
Yeah, so you have 30 extra minutes. All right.
Okay.
So, so now, do you feel that politicians should utilize TikTok, Facebook, Twitter? I'm not going to call
Social
it
media.
Exactly. Do
Yeah.
you think that politicians should have access and should use it to their
Of
benefit?
course.
Of course, perfect. Because why? First fucking Amendment rights. That's right. Because we
Yeah.
have freedom of fucking speech, baby.
The
All right.
private corporate
Those are
and
private
but,
companies.
hey,
Those
with
are
a
private
huge
companies.
qualification, those are
Yep.
private corporations.
Yep.
And as
So-
long as they are private corporations, they should have the ability to control in any way, shape, or form who is on their platform.
Absolutely.
If Elon Musk wants to glorify a couple of Nazi generals, if he owns the company and it's not getting any government money, he has the right to do that. At the same time, if, whatever the heck it was called before he got a hold of it, Twitter, wanted
yeah.
to ban Donald Trump for being a vile, disgusting, racist asshole. As long as it was a private corporation, it had
Yep.
its complete right to
Absolutely.
do that. It's how it works.
Yep. And that even applies to traditional media outlets like
Yep,
newspapers.
absolutely.
Television.
So, and then my last one, we're going to finish with it as well. Can you please tell me all of the amount of ways that you know that American citizens can vote?
Well, first of all, they can only vote one time per election. So that's very important.
So
Okay?
Trump saying vote early and often is not good.
Vote early,
Yep.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
not often.
not often. You only get to vote once. Okay.
Okay.
Period. And there's only two ways to do it.
Yep.
Either through absentee
Three.
ballot or through your polling location.
Yep.
Yeah, but you
I
can
disagree.
You
but-
can still do it early through your polling
Polling
location.
No.
What do you mean no?
All right. So, I guess I want to be clear with the people of what I've found out recently through my life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I live in Georgetown area.
Uh-huh.
We are broken up into precincts,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
let's just call them 10. Let's call it so early. Okay, so absentee ballot, right? I write in and say, hey, I'm going to be gone. I would like this shipped to my house.
Yep.
My wife submitted, I wasn't there for it, a driver's license number,
Yeah.
whatever else she needed to do. And she now has her ballot. I was stupid and lazy and didn't do it. So I called my city clerk's office.
Mm-hmm.
So actually on Saturday, not the same place, because I go vote in a church in my precinct. I now get to go vote at the city hall
Oh,
for my
right.
area.
That
So it's not the exact area.
It's not the same place, but
it's
it's
the same polling location.
Correct.
And sure, what you guys call a location, I call an area.
yeah.
So
Your
But
churches
Nick-
are not set up for
Nick, you're still voting either absentee or in
Yep.
person. And you're
Right.
still only allowed to vote
Right.
one time
Well, and that's
per election.
and
That's
also
it. Okay.
my wife, so she got hers as absentee, but she's allowed to bring her ballot with her to vote with me
Yep.
at the city hall
Mhm.
because I'm going to be voting Saturday
Correct.
because
Yep.
I'm going to be gone. You know,
Yep.
the time I'm running on my own fucking ballot, I'm going to be on vacation to see if I win or not.
So in
because-
that case, she's gotten her ballot ahead of time. But
Yeah,
again,
she
she's only
does, yes.
voting one time. And
Right,
now
correct.
She's doing it in person.
But
Yep.
and I asked, I said, because I wanted to be a dick and I asked, I was like, hey, so let's say my wife said she's going to be absent. Um, like, what if she doesn't have her ballot or whatever? She's like, oh, well, yeah, she doesn't like if it shows up in our system that she's already requested one, she has to wait for that ballot to come in. And I was like, oh, so she couldn't technically vote twice at this point? Like,
Well, I think
No
what
technical about it. She
No.
can't. And
Correct.
the thing
And if
is,
she-
I don't mean
illegal.
to sound like a jerk about this,
Yeah.
but there's so much misinformation about this. We have to be abundantly clear. And I suffer from bad adult ADHD, right? So I get it, but you can only vote one
and if
time
yes.
and if you
per election.
correct, and if you
Your
attempt-
ballot is only counted
exactly.
one time per election.
Yep.
And of the 200 million ballots that were cast in the last presidential election across the entire country, there are less than 1,000 that could actually be proven to be fraudulent.
Yep.
Okay? And of those, intentionally fraudulent, not even all of
No.
them.
Nope.
Somebody divide 1,000 by 200 million. It is such a small percentage. The only reason why this is even an
500,
issue
so
in an
1%.
election is because a guy who got his ass handed to him in the last election is grossly unpopular around the country right now and knows damn well he's going to lose this election by a large margin if enough people turn out to vote, has to spread as much misinformation
Yep.
and fear as possible to justify the illegal behavior he's going to engage in afterwards.
Yep.
So-
It's funny. I
The big
asked
lie
the
is
question
the
because I
big
knew
story.
I'd get some fun out of it.
I'm going to say goodbye to the
Well,
professor because
thank
he
you.
needs to run.
Please.
Yep, Thanks, I David. do.
One
All right,
of
guys,
my
thank
Yeah.
you very much. I will listen to the rest of this podcast as soon as it's posted, so let me know.
one of my oldest friends. I love you and thank
Okay.
you for joining.
And
Thank
we've
you.
got to do
You
this
betcha.
more often than once every 2 years.
We definitely do.
Oh, totally. All right, let's do undevoted to local elections next year to get people to turn
There you
out.
go. Yep.
100%.
All right, take
Take care,
See
my
you.
friend.
Yep, bye-bye.
So I'm going to ask you this because I kind of know a little bit. So you went to a political rally
I
recently.
did go to a political rally.
Ran
recently.
into my wife.
I did. I saw Dawn there. I saw a number of other people.
So how did you feel at that political rally? Because again, you're a recovering Republican.
I'm a recovering Republican and a former politician, right?
Yes.
So it was very much like any other political rally. And in fact, full disclosure, part of my duties when I worked with the White House and with the Bush Quayle campaign way back in the 20th century in 1992 was to help organize political rallies, right? And events. And in fact, you know, I'm probably one of the only White House interns that's never actually been to the White House. It was all field work for me. And I did something like somewhere between 40 and 50 vice presidential, first lady, you know, presidential rallies around the Midwest. And it was very much, you know, textbook kind of rally in terms of, you know, how it went off and what happened. And there's still the red, white, and blue. It just felt a whole lot, you know, I was happy to be doing what I was doing in 92. I was much happier to be there supporting Kamala Harris. There was a lot of very positive energy, and the purpose at this point of these rallies is really it's a turnout function, right? So it's really to turn out to vote, get people excited to work for the campaign, and I think from that sense it was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. There's a lot of people there, a lot of enthusiasm, and that's really what that's what this, you know, those types of events at this point in the campaign, that's what that's all about. So I do have a lot of trepidation about where the poll numbers have headed and things like that. So you know, I'm just hopeful that I did see the next president in the United States there.
Well, I know the biggest problem is going to be turnout, and that's where the Democrats always lack. So they don't necessarily energize their base nearly as well as Republicans do.
Right. And I think I think Kamala, you know, her candidacy having become sort of a cultural phenomenon, you got, you know, folks like Taylor Swift and things like that. What I'm really hoping to see is maybe that somebody like Taylor Swift and some of these other folks really kind of do something right at the end to kind of push, but
Like The Undertaker and Kane?
something like that.
Asking
mean,
for a friend.
Yeah.
Fuck the both of them.
You know, here's my thing. All right, sorry. I know that I shouldn't do this, but The Undertaker and Kane come out. It's like, oh, vote for this, right?
Vote for Trump.
Did you watch the Dave Bautista one?
I did.
So Dave Bautista's in there. He's just boxing. He looks tiny. I feel like a dick for saying that because I'm fat as fuck.
He's
and haven't-
lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, like something like I feel like something's wrong, but like whatever. Anyway, but like
Honestly, he's probably not on steroids
He
anymore.
may have gone vegan. I only say that because Michael Dorn.
Oh, but anyway, so like all I know is but like all I know is I watched like a 2-minute video of Dave Bautista talking about how he gave factual statements. He gave things that were happening. He's like, hey, Kamala's gonna do this. Kamala's doing that. Trump did that. Like, right, and it was so much more versus do you want to be on team this?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Which is wrestling, right? Team versus team. Right. And it was like, holy shit, like this, like now that I'm 36 years old, going, I don't need to be a one-man wolf pack. Okay. Like the NWO was cool back in the day, but now, like, I want to make sure my daughter has, rights. And like I've never felt so old in my life. Right?
Again,
Well,
like
welcome to right?
it was like,
Yeah.
like you get these people and
You,
okay,
you
you and I both know, right? We're gonna talk about this. Sorry, 2 seconds. I am the biggest fan of Mark Cuban. It's funny because you do now.
I
Like,
always did.
even years. Well, you hated Musk. I say, but like
I hate Musk. I've
right,
always hated him.
I like the
Shit.
anyway. So, but like right now, you guys think this, and you guys.
I'm never like, yeah.
I like the idea that he came out with the electric car. I mean,
He
like
did
for
shit. He did.
He
came out with an
nothing to do
inexpensive,
with it.
inexpensive
He had,
version of an electric
he had
car.
nothing to do with it.
Tesla
He
was-
bought the technology.
correct.
He came out with nothing. He developed nothing. He did nothing.
The
The new one that's coming out.
as we talked about, like how Trump has a certain skill to make him basically a con man.
Yeah.
Right? A communicator. Even though I don't understand, like I've never understood anything he's ever tried to communicate. He's apparently a great communicator because people can take his word salads and fill in their own blanks. Right. It's part of why he's so effective. I think the thing with Elon Musk is that he's effective at is getting money into the right places.
Yep.
And that's really his gift.
He's bought the right companies and then convinced people that he had something to do with their success.
Exactly.
I could sit here and like again last year, right? We talked about it. Your wife said, "Oh, Nick, why would you ever vote for this?" And it's because they're going against my business, right? And she's like, "Oh, it's the first person ever," and that's why I respect Mark Cuban, right? The fact that he's like, "Look, me and Donnie had a conversation, and then all of a sudden I was like." Oh, I found out he was fucking dumb as shit, and he had to learn things.
Yeah.
And like, I respect the fact that like he's just willing to come out and do this. Like, again, we talked about off air. Mark Cuban wears fucking shorts and t-shirt.
Yeah.
I am anywhere near $1 billion. I wear shorts and a t-shirt, right? Why? Because I fucking can. Right? Like
You were 12 when Austin hit.
316?
10 to 12.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
And you loved Austin, didn't you?
So
I loved Austin.
I just sent this text today.
Uh-huh.
There's only 2 men in my life that I've ever said I love you to. One of them was Stone Cold Steve Austin. One of them was a man who was in the meat department at the grocery store that looked like Stone Cold Steve Austin. All right. So, but yeah, like
So
I didn't the rattlesnake? Give me a beer. Give me another one.
and again, what was the draw of Austin? He beat the shit out of his boss all the time.
That's exactly. He was the man.
Is that reality? No, that's not reality. You don't live that way. He didn't hate Vince. Vince and him weren't adversaries. They were making money. They were giving people what they wanted
millions
to see. The McMahon documentary on Netflix is really good.
Love it. No,
It was good.
Really?
It was good, but
It was everything I already knew.
that's
my
the problem.
problem.
It was everything
Right.
you already knew,
It's like
and it really didn't get into what a reprehensible piece of shit Vince McMahon.
I absolutely fucking agree,
And-
and I think that was my problem. Is that
and
I was expecting so much
So
more.
at the very end, when Bruce Pritchard is talking,
Yes,
and they
yes.
said to Bruce, all right, you've seen some of it. What do you think? And he goes, I think it's a hit job. I think it sucks. I think you just wanted to sit here and talk about what a piece of shit Vince McMahon is. And to me, Vince McMahon is a man that 20 years ago made it so my wife, who had a terminal cancer diagnosis, is still alive 20 years later.
Mhm.
That's awesome, Bruce. That's your experience.
Right.
But that's not the experience of the women he sexually assaulted. That's not the experience of the people he stepped on.
I will give them credit. Okay, so here's my problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I struggle with it, but I don't in a sense, and I wish Jim was here to hear it. I truly believe you're innocent until proven guilty, right? So right now, Vince McMahon is on trial for this. So David, I'm not going to love the guy, but I'm not going to say, hey, he's sexually assaulted. I'm not going to say, hey, he did this. Sure, do the facts that the thing says that it is what it is. David, I will give you credit to be upset later, but like until then, it you know what? Like again, that's the thing I love about America is the fact that you get to be innocent until proven. We talked about it off air, about how I'm fucking constantly guilty for looking like a poor piece of shit to walk into a bank, right? Like
Looking like a poor piece of shit is very different than credible allegations
I
of
agree.
sexual assault.
I absolutely agree.
Very different.
I do agree, but right, what if so again, as much okay, here's the problem. You know how much I hate fucking
Kavanaugh.
yeah, Brett Kavanaugh. The hardest thing in my life is to swallow it up and say, hey, you know what? Maybe she didn't tell the truth, right? Because again, he's innocent until proven.
He's a
and,
sexual assaulter. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
and that's your thing.
I'm allowed to draw my own conclusions from the evidence that I see.
But he doesn't have it again. And so, right, as much as I'm going to sit here and tell him blue in the face and go, hey, you know what? Fuck this guy. And I will. And I'll do it on air all day. And I will, if I ever get to
With what you've seen, do you think he's a sexual assaulter?
Absolutely. Him and Donkey Dunk Doug and Gangbang Greg.
With what you've seen, is Vince McMahon a sexual assaulter?
Absolutely.
With what you've seen, is Donald Trump a sexual assaulter?
This guy has admitted he is. Okay, look,
and been convicted.
No.
He is not. Nope, he has not been convicted of that. Sorry,
he's been found liable.
He's been responsible for sexual assault.
Again, when you're president, you can just get off with it all. So, but and that's okay. It sucks about America, but it's also the one thing I still have respect for in America is the fact that. But also,
you're innocent until proven guilty if you have enough money to back that shit up. Because if you're a poor black person, you're guilty.
You're guilty before
anything happened.
Right. Also, if I get pulled over, right, like I'm constantly guilty, right? You did this. No, sir. Do you have proof that, like, right? They have people watching people be on their phone on the side of the road, and it's like, and to me, the person pulling them over, no, sir, did you witness me? No, that person did. Okay, well, I'm not guilty on your account. He needs to pull me over, and he can get on his fucking pedal bike and chase my little ass down.
We were driving down Ivan Rest the other day.
Yeah.
And going out to dinner on a Sunday afternoon. And we pulled over because a cop stopped in the middle of the fucking road, spun around, and pulled over a black kid on a bike. So we pulled into Maple Hill Golf Course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we sat there for 15 minutes and watched what the fuck went on because we wanted to know why this white cop pulled over this black kid.
It's not snowing.
And
was he on the road?
He was riding his bike.
On the road or on the sidewalk?
There's no sidewalk there, I don't think. Maple Hill and
right outside of Maple Hill. I swear there was because like
even if there is, you're not supposed to ride on the sidewalk.
Correct. But so I got
he? I don't know. But either way,
yeah,
we felt we had to stop and watch what went on just so this kid didn't get the shit kicked out of him. Why do we have to feel that way?
Which is fucked up, right?
We have to feel that way because we're conditioned lately that black people just get picked up for no fucking reason and then get hassled.
Well, and so I do agree. But like I grew up as that kid that got pulled over, right? Like it's hard. So like I was going to my buddy's house from 36th and Byron Center to 44th and Byron Center to the trailer park.
Mm-hmm.
What's the fastest way in the middle of snow? Well, fuck rollerblades. I can get up this bit, So when my rollerblades on, it's starting to be snow. They didn't clear it off, so I go into the road. Cop pulls me over, and he's like, "You can't be on the road, blah, blah. You're impeding traffic. You're doing this." And I was like, "Write me a fucking ticket." As a cocky 12-year-old kid, right? And he's like, "I can take you to jail." And it's funny because I was like, "Fuck." To me, as a 12-year-old kid, I was like, "That's 3 hots and a cot," which is what. It's funny because we talked about it like early in the episode, like growing up poor. 3 hots and a cot was better than what the fuck I was getting in theory at my house, right? Like, it sounds really stupid to say that.
Pretty good in the winter, right?
Kind of it, right? So, like, again, I'm poor as fuck, riding rollerblades up a fucking hill to visit a friend, and you're pulling me over for being responsible, like, or trying not to die in the middle of whatever, like. I don't know his whatever. Anyway, but like that was how I grew up. I grew up completely the opposite of normal,
Yep.
right? Like, and so it kind of pissed me off. But
So we have a friend of the show that's running for school board,
yeah, he's a douche.
and
Say,
he sends me this message today from a guy. So I'm gonna read everything
so you have to
verbatim.
read everything.
Is this
Please don't just read a little.
what school board is this?
Denison,
Oh,
Denison
okay,
School
okay.
Board. At least I think.
He says, "Good morning. I'm reaching out to you to ask why I should vote for you come this November. What is your position on DEI and allowing boys in girls' bathrooms?"
All right.
And you sent this to me.
You have to read before that though, and the year.
Oh, in
Oh.
2017, the person running for school board sent a message, said, "Are you looking to hire management?" And then 12 minutes later sent, "I own 3 duplexes and 3 single family residents. If you need management, I'm willing to do the work." And then what is this, 8 years later? 7 years later,
7 years.
Yep.
he reaches out to find out if this person, what their DEI stance in allowing boys in the girls' bathroom is. And I sent a message back to this person. And I said, I think you should respond the following. I think the answer you're looking for is, I hate the gays and the coloreds. Because that's the answer the guy's looking for.
Sure, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, and I gave
And mind
sorry,
you,
that person gave
that
me a bunch of
person-
answers.
correct.
The
One of
friend of the show.
my favorite answer that person gave me was, I really want to respond with, I really think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely,
Is
right?
it-
Like,
Is it terrible that the absolute first thing I thought of when I found out that Pete Rose died is that his band is over?
Yeah.
Is that,
I mean, it's the truth.
it's
it's literally the very first
Yeah,
thought that
this is
came out.
true.
If you ask me if that's horrible to think of, yes, actually it is. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yes, welcome to the dark side, my friend.
Yep, his
Uh,
band, oh my God, his band's
Right,
over.
and then that person, it sent another one about I'm gonna wait, or that person's gonna wait 7 years to respond,
Yeah,
just to make it a fun game,
Right.
because like,
every 7 years.
you know what, like you couldn't respond to me, but you can ask me for a favor 7 years later. Like, it's okay.
So before we wrap this up, I want to talk about Social Security for a minute. Hang on.
I wasn't expecting to wrap it up. I figured
Oh.
we'd let him go unless you want to wrap it up.
I mean, it's up to you. We can keep talking, but let's talk about Social
But you
Security.
had a question for me as well.
Oh, you did.
Lot-
You want to go through those? Go for it.
So, okay. So yeah, rapid fire quickly. All right. I didn't ask Mr. Siwik, but here we go. So president and VP, it used to be, right? The first one voted got president. The second,
Correct.
behind was a
we-
VP.
Again, we talked about the electoral college, right? So yeah,
well, so yeah, the electoral college made that person.
And keep in mind, back in the day, the electoral college was determined by the state legislature, so they would
by the state, not the
Correct.
federal, right?
Right.
So,
So,
like, yeah.
so each state legislature they would appoint the electors,
Yep.
and then they would vote for president and vice president. Whoever got the most electoral votes for president was president. Whoever got the second most votes for president was vice president.
That's good.
Yep.
Do you believe that should be a thing?
Fuck no.
Okay. So,
No.
right, so you're fine with Harris and Walls.
Yeah, I'm fine with the ticket.
Okay. So and then so do you like the electoral or the popular vote?
No, popular votes we've got to change the constitution, get rid of that. It's antiquated.
All right. So sorry, they're not all in order.
That's all right.
If Donald Trump loses,
Mhm.
what will happen? And then do you think he'll run again in 4 years?
If he loses, and I think maybe David, when you asked that question of him, maybe misunderstood, because I think he was answering the question if he wins, right? Because if he wins 2 terms, there's term limits.
Yep.
He's not supposed to run.
They're supposed to be, but he can also off as a president. So, all right, sorry, I'm going to give you my answer quickly
Okay.
of this. So, my understanding is, right, so the president gets to be exonerated of all felonies or misdemeanors or anything like that. But like in my opinion is he could just hire you or me
Mhm.
to run for president, win presidency off us, and now he gets another 3 years as
No,
vice
Can't
president.
do that.
Well,
No,
I
no,
mean,
no,
it's
no,
like-
the Constitution
I do
specifically-
understand, but like,
yeah.
but so right, and because I mean, in theory, you're allowed to run 2 terms, or you're allowed to win 2 terms, but if you're a vice president, you can
Cannot do,
step
then
in.
you're ineligible vice president at that point too.
Correct.
The same amendment that says that you're limited to 2 terms prevents you from running for vice president if you've already been elected.
Oh,
president.
really? Okay, so
Twice. If you've been
awesome.
elected twice, you can't run for president or vice
Oh,
president.
that's great. Okay,
Yep, yep,
so
yep.
and he'll never do second to none, but
Right, yeah.
now can he?
But Huey Long, actually, you remember David was talking about Huey Long.
Yeah.
He used to do that, right? He would get elected as lieutenant governor, and
Yeah.
then the other guy would resign the next day.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, all right. If Trump loses, what do you think will happen? Because I feel so bad. I wish Siwik was on here. Right, January 6th came up. January 6th is one thing that it hits my emotions, it hits my heart because I believe in America. And so do you think he runs again? So
Well, no, I mean, I don't think if he loses,
if he loses,
I think given his obvious mental decline,
Yep.
he won't be in any position to run again in 4 years.
okay. So
So even if he were to lose, he would still be eligible, but I just don't think it's possible that they might, cart him out there on a dolly or something and have him, like a weekend at Bernie's kind of a thing, right? Is what that would be.
really okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you think he's that bad?
Oh, he is in very, very bad.
Well, it's
obvious mental decline.
I mean this with all due
Yeah,
respect.
yeah, no.
I feel like the things I've seen is Biden's worse than what Trump is in the cognitive aspect of things. I think they're both old as fuck and shouldn't do. One of the best things I got to see in my life was right. I got to go through Clinton, who had some kind of shit together. Sure, he's a normal guy, right? We go back to the 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Whatever. But like, and it sucks and it does whatever. But like, I also got to see Obama, who was a very young president, right? And Obama,
Well, Clinton was too, actually.
Yep. Comparison, right? To
Well, no, I mean, Clinton and Obama were very close in age when they first took office. Like they were both in their 40s.
Yeah, but I thought Clinton. Sorry, I thought Clinton was like 5 years older than Obama.
Yeah, but I mean,
But yeah, so but so you don't think he runs again? Okay, so my thing is I hope he runs again because like that before 3 losses in a row and it's just guaranteed.
Oh, yeah.
As much as I don't want Dems to win, I also don't want Trump to win because I want a great candidate in the independent. We all agreed upon this. Like I want an independent to win because you know what? Hey,
we have to have major changes for that to be possible.
But anyway, so if he loses, okay,
what do I think is going to happen?
Do you think any January 6th kind of stuff happens? Do you think?
So here's how I think that.
Do you think he? And I hate to say this on air. I hate to do whatever. I mean, do you think he puts a hit out for things that have won? I mean,
right now. So January 6th, keep in mind, Trump was still in power, right? He was the president of the United States, and if he had surrounded himself with more people who were loyal to him and not the Constitution, I think things would have been much worse on January 6th. I think he would have figured out a way to stay in power. That's what I fear. David,
can I ask a question? If Bowman was the VP, couch fucker.
Bowman, holy shit!
If Bowman was the VP, does he do what Pence wouldn't?
Yes, absolutely. He said he would. He said that publicly that he would.
What did Pence not do?
Pence refused to consider not certifying the election.
They asked him not to certify it. They said he had all of the power.
That's why Trump wanted.
And I will absolutely give fucking Pence so much credit.
Yeah.
So he defended the Constitution.
He actually followed his oath of office.
And that's what. So it's funny because all right, things that piss me off in life is the fact that people define a man, right? Oh, a man wouldn't hit a woman. A man wouldn't do this. A man wouldn't. To me, that's what defines.
What I think what defines
that defines a human to me, right? A person that stands for what they believe and follows through with it, no matter if you're wrong, whatever. Like David, I tell you off all the time. It's like we don't talk enough for me to tell you off. I would do it.
Right. No, I get it. But no, I think it's I think the definition of courage, manliness, being whatever you want to call it, is doing what's right in the face of other people telling you that
when it's time to do it.
Absolutely.
It's hard for me.
But you'd asked about what I think is going to happen. Yeah. Right. So if Trump loses, and he's already setting this up, right?
He is too. It's funny.
Well, but so he's not in power anymore. And in fact, Biden is, right? So, Biden's the president of the United States, right?
Correct.
And he's got, all the duty or the privileges and everything of office until January 20th. So I think what Trump does then instead is he's already laying the foundation, has been for months, just like he did in 2020, to question the outcome of the election, right? I think what happens is instead of seeing what we saw on January 6th, after the electoral votes had been submitted, I think we see that in every swing state capital
Okay.
to prevent
And
the electoral college from meeting. That's what they're going to try to do.
500 fucking recounts, everything about it.
All that's going to happen for sure. But I think in terms of riling up his people to go and do violence, it's going to be to
So-
keep people from.
They'll send them to Lansing. They'll send them to Philadelphia. They'll send them to Madison.
Yep.
Holy cow! Because you actually brought up a point,
And I
but
just a little bit longer, but
do you? Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna skip those, and I'm gonna go to this. So you had actually brought up clean energy
Mhm.
kind of earlier in this episode, and your feelings and opinions is the
Mhm.
fact that Kamala Harris has a stance on, hey, I want to get towards one way,
Yep.
and you don't feel that Trump has that sense. Now, do you actually, as a human, feel that clean energy is the way for the United States to progress as a nation? Do you feel that it's the way for us to continue?
yeah. Absolutely, I do.
Do you really?
Yeah,
Okay,
and I think
so-
that. I mean, I don't think it's just. I don't think it's an option just for the United States. I think I think it's a requirement for us as as a
As the
species, right?
United Nations, yeah.
Yeah. So, and but my sort of broader point there was because the professor. I don't want to confuse the Davids.
No,
The
sorry,
professor had
Siwik,
brought,
yeah.
Siwik had brought up. He's talking about he kind of started talking about that he's talking about clean energy or he was at least alluding to it. And what I was trying to say is that from just a purely political electoral standpoint, Donald Trump is now cozying up to Elon Musk. So now he's starting to say, electric cars, whatever, but he's entirely transactional.
Correct.
And what he's trying to do right now, just to get votes, is pander to, and I said the buggy whip right makers
Yep.
and the telephone operators. And my point there was he's trying to cozy up to people that are part of dying industries
Mhm.
just to get their votes. What he would do from a policy perspective is going to depend on who gives him the most money. And what I see happening is, if he wins, is that Elon Musk is going to start writing a
Writing
lot of,
checks.
he's
Do you think it's Musk or do you think it's Musk Daddy?
well, it's whatever. I mean, it's
I mean,
no,
there.
it's what it is.
But-
It's what I see his role being is I think Musk could have an outsized role in policy. And so I think that, just because he's in that industry, that
Sure.
there would be some investment in
Right.
that by accident.
You know-
So in other words, I think transactionally Trump is already laying the groundwork from a policy perspective. If he were to get, he's gonna fuck these people that he's pandering to. He's gonna fuck the coal miners and the people that work in oil and gas and stuff like that. Yeah.
Absolutely, right? Because again, you go to the coast. Okay, so here's what's gonna happen, right? So we're gonna all get fucked for the next. You guys didn't ask, but I'm gonna fucking give it to you
Mhm.
because this is Nick's
Excellent,
opinion.
we'll give it to you.
This is Nick's opinion, baby. Here's what's gonna happen, right? So, I have a cell phone that literally, okay, I'm on, and I say this 16 hours a day, right? Whether it's watching adult videos or playing video games or doing anything the fuck I want with my phone, right? I was driving today, playing on my phone, called my wife and said, "Can you go through the Amazon orders so I can get them put into my spreadsheet
Mhm.
so I can do my billing and coding and stuff like that?"
Yep.
And she's like, "Yep." And so, right, I am on my phone far too much, right?
Mhm.
I wake up at 6 a.m. and I go to bed at 11 o'clock. And yes, do I pay attention to my kid? Not as much as you guys want me to because I'm on my fucking phone. Anyway, so I know that my battery dies way too quickly.
Yep.
So that's what bothers me about electric cars.
Mhm.
And that's why we need, hey, hybrids and gas and things like. I'm a hybrid fan, not a full electric fan. But I do think that we'll get to a point where, hey, all right, now we have electric to where we can supercharge it because I have the greatest phone I've ever owned is this.
Mhm.
Okay. So if I bring my charger with me, I can get 50% charge in 30 minutes.
Mhm.
If I put it on your charger, right, that is going to take me an hour and a
Mhm.
half to get done. So I think with technology, we're going to get there. It'll eventually just take time
Mhm.
to get to what we need. Also, my problem is I think America's so fucking greedy that we'll never actually get rid of an electric bill, right? I think we could I think we have enough wind turbines currently. Again, this is think opinion, this is where it is. We have enough turbines to where everybody could just run off of electric currently, and never actually have a bill, but somebody has to fucking pay for this, right? Like,
So being a techie guy,
yeah, of course.
and interested in Jim's opinion on this. So in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, they could build a car that would last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now a car lasts you 5, 6 years, starts to have issues. 7, 8 if it's a really good car. You buy a computer, the computer's good for the first couple years, then it starts to get slower and slower. And by year 5, it's shit, and you got to buy a new fucking computer. Phones last a couple of years, and then the battery goes to shit.
Are you asking me this because you read the comment I made on John Morton's?
I have not.
Okay, all right. And I actually wrote about this last week.
I have not. I did
Okay,
not.
yeah, all right.
Dak, we love Dak.
Yep.
So, the phones,
Wait,
their batteries.
Let's be clear about this. Dak who?
Dak, do you know
John Morton.
Do you ever see
He has
Empire
not.
Strikes Back?
He has not.
No,
Okay,
but
never mind.
I'm going to be clear about this because of how much I fucking hate the Cowboys.
No.
Okay, about this is not Prescott.
John Morton played a
Skywalker's
gunner.
backseat
Yeah.
gunner in The Empire Strikes Back.
He was also Boba Fett in Bespin.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
As long as
So
we're not,
nerd speak.
He
as
doesn't know
long as
anything
we're not
about
talking about Prescott,
No.
I'm all right with that.
Dak.
No.
So, anyways,
Sorry.
I feel that we have technology to make these things better, but it doesn't help any company to build a computer that lasts for 10 years.
Correct.
Because then you're not buying another fucking computer.
Correct.
Right.
But also,
No, yeah,
and
absolutely.
we all knew this from the 90s. One of the biggest things I took from my life was the fact that Bill Gates came out and said that technology will double every 2 years and cut its price in half.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so every 2 years, we're going to double in technology and the old technology will be cut in half.
Mhm.
So, David, you know me.
Mhm.
My laptop's X amount of years old.
Mm-hmm.
God, I've been out of college for 14 years now, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a new laptop, okay?
Wow.
Sure, like the technology's great, but like I paid $500 and this thing has a terabyte of fuck like right
Yeah, oh, yeah,
my
it's
first
crazy,
one
yeah.
has like 256. I remember paying $40 for an 8 GB memory
Right.
card back when I was in college,
Yeah.
right? And I was broke. I worked at ABC and that was my cost. Okay. You people were paying
Well,
65,
You
right?
talk about 8 gig. I paid the same amount to add 8 meg when I was,
Right.
Yeah.
which wasn't that long
Like
before.
this is this is the whole point. And so
Mhm.
but anyway, so now like things are getting there, and we're at this point where society needs to realize that you can only get so far off of technology that's here right now, right?
So let's go back to my original point so Jim can answer it and leave.
Please, don't. We have 3 more questions for him.
Okay. So what was your original point?
My original
Please
point was
remind
we
listeners.
could absolutely have technology that would last longer, but there's just no money in it.
Well, we can correct. And
Oh, really?
and really what's oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and what I was writing about when I was my comment is that Morton, who's a boomer, was he had read something about like just kind of about Gen X, right, which is our generation. And I said, well, this does kind of resonate with. He's like, is this true? And I said, yeah, this does kind of resonate because we were kind of our generation, particularly my age, right? I'm sort of at the not quite to the middle of the Gen X. I was born in 72, so I'm 7 years into it. We were when I was a kid, we went from everything like a TV was meant to last your entire life.
Mhm.
You buy a TV, you take it to the repair shop. There were repair shops for things like appliances.
Yeah.
And so things were meant to last forever. And you kept cars a lot longer, like David was saying.
What Blackie's in Grand Rapids. If you ever have a TV go out, go to Blackie's,
Yeah.
right? Nowadays,
Nobody
Here-
fixes them now.
it's
No.
so
It's
Blackie's.
too expensive.
They're
The funny
designed-
thing is Blackie still does.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. My wife's so pissed at me right now, and I'm sorry to take you off on a tangent. My wife is pissed at me right now. We have a box in our house that has been there for 3 weeks, and she goes, "What are you gonna do with this?" It is a 65-inch TV
Mhm.
that I have paid $280 for,
Mhm.
and I said, "I'm gonna go hook it up to my dartboard." And she goes, "What the fuck?" And I said, "Look, you have a 55 up here. I can't connect to my 32 that's down there." She goes, "You used to be able to." And I was like, "I can't figure it out.
Mhm.
I don't want to pay somebody. It's cheaper for me to buy a new TV, and it happened to be huge, and I'm going to go hook it up to my dartboard so I can play my friends online
Yep.
versus,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I get it doesn't bother me, right? And so I agree with what you're saying in the fact that like technology is going to get to sorry, you had said it, right? It doesn't pay anybody money, and you're sitting here saying, "Hey, this isn't going to get any better for American
Well, yeah,
society,"
because
right? Like,
what my original point was we've got so we things used to be more permanent, right?
correct.
And what we're doing now, so there's two aspects to it. I think from a financial perspective is not only are we designing products as a society
To fail.
to fail quickly,
Yep.
right? But then what happens to all the shit like the batteries and stuff like that? There's not, they don't we don't do a really good job of recycling that. So the supply of those materials becomes less, and that creates price inflation in the supply chain, right?
Holy shit. So there's nothing more true than the words you just said,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Okay, so I've bought more houses than everybody here combined, right? Doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
I I buy houses with 48-inch stoves. When's the last time you've seen a
Right,
40-inch
no,
stove?
right.
I buy houses with rounded corner refrigerators,
Yeah.
right? Like
Rounded screen TV.
exactly.
Yeah,
Right? So they're
old too, right?
David won't take them.
No,
But anyway, so like
no.
we just throw them out. But like, and that's the whole thing is like back then they built it to be something.
Right.
I I try to fix the furnaces and things like that, but sometimes it's not worth it. Um, and so you get to a point where value versus what's expected
Yep.
out of an American, right? And America, we expect the newest, the best, the most
Exactly,
technology,
right.
right? Because so I just bought, it's funny because I just told my guys, so tenant got evicted. I just told them to buy the cheapest thermostat
Mhm.
because it actually works better with a boiler system
Mhm.
because boiler systems
Right.
are
Yeah.
very
Yeah, it's
stupid,
very,
right?
yep. I know where you're going with
A
that.
boiler system just says, hey, on, off, here to there,
Yep.
versus a furnace that says, hey, heat exchanger to here to
Right. Yep.
push to
Yep.
go.
Yep.
I have two parts versus five moving
Yep.
parts, right? And it's very frustrating to me. But as you said, like
Mhm.
society expects that things are going to last way less.
Yep.
When you could put a lifespan back in back in your guys' day, right? You didn't know when things were going to go out. Now, if you ask me, right, I can sit here and do this math, right? A roof is supposed to last you 20 years, 20 years or less, longest lasting thing in your house, right? A water heater 7 years. A stove 5 years.
Yep.
A refrigerator 3 years,
Yep.
right? When you could put a number on something, you know things are being built with so much less quality, right?
Well, it's not necessarily that it's less quality. It's designed to fail.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's so I would say the quality is exactly what they want it to be. The
Absolutely.
engineers want it.
Exactly.
Okay, other questions.
Oh no.
Did that answer your question?
You answered my
Okay.
question.
All right. So, sorry, I asked Mr. Siwik as well. Do you believe that politicians should use TikTok,
Any
Facebook, all that?
yeah, I mean that's
So,
just
I follow-
their communication.
I follow Couch Fucker.
Mhm.
I also follow Tim Walls.
Mhm.
Tim Walls and I
We could be friends.
we're Midwest guys.
Yeah, we could be
Like
friends.
this guy literally just walks up to a fucking Coney dog thing and he's like, "I'm gonna get the foot long hot dog, extra chili, couple bits of fucking cheese." He doesn't expect anything
Did you see
extra.
what Vance did at the donut shop in
Couch
Georgia? Oh my
Fucker, I
god!
did see this.
Oh
Okay.
my
You
god!
don't call him Vance.
Yeah, no,
you
he's
call him
couch fucker.
I call him Bowman, but you know.
So
Couch
anyway,
versus couch.
but anyway, so like my problem is dude, if you're gonna put it publicly, right? I'm gonna call you out on it. All right. Anyway, so next thing, one per election. So, yep, you kind of answered during Mr. Siwik's time. Do you feel like there's more Republicans today than there was 4 years ago? Versus,
No, it's about the same.
do you feel like there's more Democrats today than there was?
Well, I guess it depends on how you define a member. So I
do
think
you
of
feel
that
like there's
people who-
more people that are going to show up
to vote?
to vote for? Because again, as much as I want every last person to vote independent, do you feel there's going to be more Republicans to vote Democratic or Republican today than there was 4 years
I think
ago?
there's probably been an uptick on the Democrat side. I'm not sure about. I think the Republicans it's probably about the same, but it's really going to as the professor was saying, it comes down literally to neighborhoods at this point, right?
Yeah.
And given that we have the electoral college, I think the better question is, are there going to be more Democrats than Republicans in this space, in this space, in this space, in this space?
and it's hard because I think neighborhoods, as long as
Mhm.
so one of the biggest things I will tell you, right? You went to the rally,
Mhm.
and I fucking hated you as a person for it. I also hated any other person that went to the couch fuckers one.
Oh my God, that was
right. Here's my problem. My problem is I have a life, and I'm trying to get from one place
Uh-huh.
to the next. I don't need to be shut down on roads for
Oh.
because, as you said in the beginning of this episode,
Mhm.
the chances of me changing your feelings, it wasn't opinion,
No.
your feelings slash opinions of something is so minimal, and you're gonna come here and it wasn't actually you wanted to debate, but now I think it's even lower when you come here and try to have a uh what did they what did you go to?
It was a rally.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
rally.
yeah.
It's not even a fucking debate. It's literally just one-sided.
Yeah.
So fucking stupid to me.
So
Like stop. Like I get that Michigan's a swing state, but like don't come here
Don't go
because
to Kalamazoo on Saturday.
seriously, are they coming again?
Yeah.
Oh,
So I'm
like
gonna-
also Tim Walls and I,
Mhm.
if he comes and we play bar games on top of the fucking thing, I will give Tim Walls my fucking because Tim Walls from Wisconsin, right?
Nope, he's from
Minnesota.
Yep.
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
But if we play dice on top of the bar, me and 6 friends are gonna vote for him.
Yeah, there you go.
But
Jim needs to go. I'm going to ask
do.
one final
please
question.
do, yeah. Sorry.
Jim, in your 52 years of life,
Mhm.
have you ever needed to exclaim, "I never fucked a couch"?
I've never had
That's
to
your
explain
one
that.
question.
Yeah, that's my one question.
Really?
Yeah.
You wasted it on that?
I did.
I have never. No. I mean, I don't have to deny something I've
I
never done.
absolutely hate the fact that this is so much more dark blue
I know. I
than
don't
what
like
it
that
should
either.
be. It makes it look like it's fake. It makes it look like it's made up
No,
and like
I think it makes it look like they pasted 20.
right, like
Trump or
like
something else,
like it used to be something different. Like they fucked up. Like it's an
Like
error.
the people that take the Trump Pence signs and they do
Exactly.
C over.
Yeah, you
I've
that
seen
too.
them, yeah.
With like and they take white fucking they take okay, so guys, we're from the Midwest.
We have to say
Hold
goodbye
on.
to Jim.
Okay.
Nope. We're the cheapest people that have come around. So people around here
People have done that everywhere. They
white-
just
white
yeah,
duct tape?
and just
and then just go over Pence and then do Trump.
I'll tell you one thing, because signs cost money and things like that. I used to be,
you know how many signs I
no,
bought?
I know, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
But so the first time that a candidate runs for a particular office, they'll often design, and the candidate doesn't do it, but their people will design the sign so that the year and where you can add an RE in front of elective. So if they get elected, all you got to do is buy some stickers. Oh
Re-elect.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh
And
shit.
you change the year. And what I used to do is I would even advise my candidates to say, like, only put your name and the name of the office that you're running for.
Yeah.
You can reuse them infinitely that way.
Instead of years.
Yeah, because everybody, if it's 2024, everybody knows that they're gonna,
Yeah.
you
don't have to tell them the year.
Months, yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so I'm not running. All right, Jim. I'm gonna hold on. Let me make sure. Oh, actually, you know what? This is very important to me.
Okay.
Because I just learned as an
Hurry
uneducated
up.
white man.
Mhm.
Jim, can you please talk about the ways to vote
Yes.
as an American?
Okay, there's 2 ways to vote, right?
Please do.
For
This is
public
huge for me.
office, you can vote by mail.
Okay.
We used to call that absentee voting, but it's just, if you refer to it as vote by mail, because you don't necessarily in many places, including Michigan, you don't have to have a reason anymore. You don't have to be away, because it used to be only if you were going to be away on election day could you do that. So let's just call it
Oh.
vote by mail.
Okay, so
Yep.
so now if you just want to go on vacation, or if you're David,
You don't have to have any reason. You can just
No
request
reason.
to vote by mail.
Okay,
So
thank
that's
you
what
so
I
much.
right? Yep. Or
Oh,
then
you do,
yeah.
and you're not.
I
You're
do.
not
Nope. The second way to do it is in person. And now in Michigan, it used to be just on election day, and now we have early voting.
which is what's the date?
It's November 5th.
November 5th, right?
Right.
And you used to have to go to your precinct. And
Well, it
do
would
this.
be it's always the first Tuesday after the first Monday in
All right,
November, right?
Yep.
Yep.
This is
Yep.
what I want. I want
Yep.
very specific. So first one, vote by mail.
Mhm.
You can go online. You can go
to your county clerk or to your local township clerk or
Okay.
any other. I think you can even request them, maybe, I'm not sure, at like Secretary of State's office.
Okay, so and
Public, yep,
to get vote by mail.
correct.
Now you can go vote in person,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do that.
Yep, and you can do it now in Michigan and many other places. You can do it early, and you have to go to your polling place. Now, you were saying earlier that your polling place isn't necessarily a polling place or polling location, and what that means is that they're going the if you're polling your early voting location, your early polling location may not be the same physical building that you would vote in on election day because they kind of try to spread those out. So what they do is they have the precincts, right,
Correct.
set up maybe in one location, like your township hall or something, in just different like little sections.
So right, and
So
to be
City
kind
Hall in Jennison, right?
right, to be kind of clear,
Yep.
right? So like, so where I live in Jennison is we have 10 precincts.
Mhm.
So they will try to make 1,000 people go to
Mhm.
one of 10 locations
Buildings, yep.
to
Mhm.
make 1,000 people be able to
Correct.
vote. Or you can go early
Mhm.
and
Before November 5th.
they're assuming
Uh-huh.
that not all 100,000 people are going to vote early
Sure.
at the city hall
Or the church or whatever.
the
Yep.
location
Yep.
that they've chosen for early voting.
Yeah. So what they do is they're basically combining those locations because you're
Correct.
spreading out all the people are going to vote over several days.
Correct.
They combine them. It's just for convenience because they get volunteers to staff
Yeah.
the polls, right? So they don't have to have volunteers for 20 days or however long it is. They put them in one location that's staffed by the actual election officials. You're still voting in the same place. It's just not the same physical location. In many cases, the box that you put your ballot in after you're done voting is the exact same box that they're going to pick up and take to the church on November 5th. And all the votes for that precinct are going to end up in that same box. That's why it's the same polling location. That's how that works.
And I can't write that down. I'm sorry. Both
right.
my pens fucking broke because they're stupid. Thank you. All right. So you had mentioned election officials.
Mhm.
Okay. Have you been one?
I have.
Fucking great. I'm so excited. All right. So what is an election official? What do you have to do to get there? What does it take to be this
Okay.
person?
All right. So election officials it is a broad term that can refer to different people, many different.
Sorry, no,
roles.
it's me. It's
Okay. So I'm just see if there's another pen
oh,
here.
I got it.
Okay, so an election official, in the most strict sense, is the person who's responsible in a township or a county or even at the state level for running the elections. So in Michigan, the election officials are by law or by, I believe it's defined in the Constitution of Michigan as well, the city or township clerk is the primary election official.
Okay.
That person is responsible for running the elections at the local level. Then the county has a clerk as well. That person is responsible for tabulating the votes from the different townships and
From the
cities. So
precinct.
they're an election
Yep.
official as well. And then you've got the Secretary of State,
Okay.
who's ultimately the election official. You also have election officials that are so there's boards of canvassing, and they're the people that meet. And in Michigan, I don't remember if they exist at the county level, but but for certainly at the state level, they're the ones that meet, and they're sort of independently appointed or elected, and they just certify the vote. So after the Secretary of State has said, yes, these are the official vote titles, they sign off on it. And I'm pretty sure they exist at the county level as well, because there was some issue with that, or maybe not all counties, but there was an issue in Wayne County in 2020.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So those are election officials that are kind of around all the time.
No background checks. No.
Well, the county clerk, the township clerk, city clerk, well, not necessarily city clerk, township clerks, county clerks for sure, and the Secretary of State are elected. So elected officials don't have background checks.
Okay.
City clerks are often appointed. So Joel Hondorp, who's the city clerk of Grand Rapids, used to be the elected township clerk.
Do you know I know his brother?
Yeah, which one?
Dave.
Okay, yep. So yeah.
Say. Yeah.
So
He's actually a quarter mile from you.
Okay. So,
because I know where he lives.
well, Joel lives right down the street. from me.
Literally on
4
quarter
houses.
mile from
Yep.
you. Yeah.
So let
So-
him talk. He's got to go.
So
He does. He wants to go. He doesn't have to.
So this is those are the election officials that are kind of like, you know, the clerks have other duties as well, but they're the election officials. And then on the day of, or maybe beforehand, because we have early voting and stuff, the clerks will solicit people to volunteer.
Mhm.
And I believe there are background checks and stuff done on them, although they're often the same people from year to year, often retired folks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
These are the people that you hear about, like that Rudy Giuliani was attacking and stuff like that. They're collecting. They're the ones that are going to get his penthouse apartment,
Yep.
stuff like that. These people are simply volunteers,
Correct.
and they're the ones that work and they go through training and they're certified by the clerks to administer the elections. They're the ones that when you show up at the to vote, they check your name off the list. And they make sure that you haven't already voted.
Yep. And
They're
they
the
give
ones
you
that
the
check-
sticker.
Yep, they're the ones that check the signatures. They make sure that your ballot goes into the
Yep.
into the drop
And
box.
if it comes back negative, they're going to say it came back. You have to go recheck this.
Yep. That's them. So
That's-
those are also considered to be election officials,
Yep.
but they're officials only in the sense that they're official. I mean, they're part of the mechanism, but they're not like pay. I mean, they might get some
They get lunch, maybe.
mild.
Sure.
There's some sort of but they're basically volunteers, right? And those are the people that. And that's how the election system works. And there's a lot of checks and balances and things like that. When you're talking about election officials, now what you'll also hear is that the parties are allowed to have what are called poll challengers. And they're the ones that they can go and watch what's going on.
Yep.
They're not officials.
Nope.
So
Say, all
That's how
right.
that works.
We have so much more I want to ask you
Okay.
because right, there's people that walk the parking lots, there's people
Mhm.
that do things, there's people like you that wear this.
well, So-
while you go to the polling.
I can tell you a little bit more about
you
so what you're
please
talking
do,
about.
yes.
Outside of the entrance to a polling place,
Correct.
I believe it's either 100 or 150
Mhm.
feet. You're not allowed to do any kind of election.
And I don't know about anybody else in other states, but I'm gonna let you know about Michigan, Texas,
Mhm.
New York. Nobody knows feet, okay?
No,
Because
yeah.
you're supposed to be like 150 feet away for smoking, and trust me,
No,
people smoke right outside
No.
the fucking door.
Well, what I would say is
Let's
that election officials know what 150 feet is, and
Right,
sometimes they'll even
they're
put a
supposed
line.
to.
They'll sometimes even put a line
Oh,
around
gotcha.
it. But I could tell you almost always where that 150 feet is, because that's where you start to see signs. And those are the people that are in the parking lot and things like that. And those are generally campaign volunteers or poll challengers that are there, that are either there from the campaigns or from the parties. That's what's up with that.
So, and do you believe that you're gonna wear that so you've already voted,
Mhm.
but do you think you could wear that and still go vote?
Yes, absolutely. And
Your
they-
shirt
they-
says Harris 2024 in dark blue. Walls, we're not going back.
an individual going to vote can essentially wear whatever they want.
So you know what the funny thing is and
Mhm.
it should be very more. Sorry, I'm going to be clear about that. An individual can wear whatever the fuck they want to the fucking polls and
Correct.
do whatever they want. Me,
Well, they can't do whatever they want.
sorry, they can wear whatever they want.
What they can't do, even if they're there, even if it's their precinct, is
Correct.
engage in electioneering. So they're not allowed to start chanting. I mean, so there is some restriction on speech as far as that goes within the 150 foot.
I wear a pride hat
Mhm.
almost 90% of the time that
Mhm.
depends on tonight I'm wearing a
Wayne's
Wayne's World.
World.
Yeah, it's a Wayne's World hat. But like normally, right,
Mhm.
I walk out and I have my pride hat and it
Mhm.
does whatever, or I've gained a little weight, so
Mhm.
my pride shirt doesn't fit anymore. And so but like I will walk in, I won't say anything to anybody, I'll hand my ID over and people will go, and like, oh, I know who you voted for. No, the fuck you don't. Let me be clear about one thing. You have no idea who I am.
Yep.
You have no idea about anything.
If a poll worker says something like that to you,
No, they don't.
okay, I would be challenging.
But no, listen, they just
Yep.
they go, all right, sir. Enjoy, have fun.
Yep.
So,
That's what they
Jim,
do.
it's excellent. Thank
Yep,
you so much
my
for staying
pleasure.
around a little
Yeah,
bit
no worries.
longer than you should have. I'm sorry for keeping you, but
No,
like
that's
I
all right.
really appreciate because to me, I just found out like there's a difference between mail-in and
Mhm.
early voting
Mhm.
and right election day voting.
Yep.
So
Generally just the location though. And
yeah.
and the reason that they spread it out is you need to account, buildings can only accommodate so many people. You have to take into account, like fire marshal says and stuff like that. So I'll stick around till he comes back.
All right. Thank you again for
Yep.
joining us, Jim.
No problem.
We're running 2 hours here. We're going to
Okay.
start wrapping up once Nick gets back up here. But as you, I have already voted. We've actually, I've talked 4 new voters into registering for the first time.
Excellent.
I basically, so I've had them, they're like, yeah, I don't really know much. I don't really care. And I'm like, yeah, you should, especially when they're women. I'm like, you should care. You don't necessarily have to know how you feel. Know what you believe in and what is important to you, and then go find the candidates that support those things.
Right.
So our assistant manager, Chloe, came in last Thursday and she's like, I don't really understand how to look these people up. I'm like, cool. So we grabbed her ballot and I looked the people up and I said, this is what they stand for. Who do you want to vote for? And she goes, oh, well, that was really easy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it really is.
Yep.
And again, I know how I vote. This time I was a single issue voter. I voted a straight Democratic ticket because fuck the Republicans. I'm done with them. And then I researched everything else. Like the school board for Plainwell to me was important because that's where I vote.
Yep.
I know that I looked up the Byron Center School Board for Dawn and Caitlin, who they don't have a horse in the race. Neither do you. You don't have kids in school.
Right. Well,
but you want the schools still to not be insane.
Right.
So, looking it up gives you an idea of what you can do. There's great resources out there. Google's always a wonderful resource. Nick, we're just wrapping up here because we're 2 hours as it is. So
Facebook, right? Reach out to any political person that has a Facebook, right? Because again, you pointed out tonight, somebody reached out to me.
Yeah.
I didn't respond, right? Like,
thanks, guys.
I had the choice. But to me, anybody that has a care is going to have a position. They're going to have a pull. They're going to have a stance. They're going to do whatever it takes to get their side heard.
Yeah.
Right. One thing I think I have a leg up on is I don't go in front of everybody constantly and become that person that bitches about everything all the time. You know what? You want my feelings and opinions? That's off air. You want what I actually stand for? That's in my political bio, right? So, I like tonight's episode. It's filled with people who can put their opinions to the side and talk factual statements, right? And this is what I like about politics, right? I want a very much factual conversation, right? I mean, it's hard, right? When Jim walks in with Harris Waltz 2024, and I sit here and go, why is that dark blue around? Oh, yeah, you're right. It does look like, because who knows? It might have been made for the next year. It might have been made for something else, or people just are dumb and want to fill it in. But, I think so. David, I guess real quick, just for you, conspiracy theories. Do you believe that they're happening?
I don't believe there's any basis in fact for most of the conspiracy theories out there. I think that people want to believe it because they want to believe that their side is righteous or that their side is right or that the other side is bad. I mean, you look at Pizzagate's a great example. So there's a basement in a pizza place in DC where all the Democrats hold the children and they traffic them and rape them and all this shit.
I've never heard of this.
Oh, you haven't heard of Pizzagate?
No, God, I don't want to. TikTok. I'm not going to.
It was huge.
Really?
It was run by Hillary. So
Hillary.
When you go to that pizza joint, there's no basement.
Oh shit!
So then it turned into, well, they're hiding the basement.
Yeah, of course.
And because of course you have to always change it to fit your narrative. And again, when you have to do these mental gymnastics, it's just filled with bullshit. Do I think Oswald acted alone? No. Do I think he was a patsy? Yes. Did he make that shot? Probably not.
Really?
I don't think he did.
Do you think that
I think there was a second shooter on the knoll.
do you think there's two people that have tried to assassinate Trump?
No.
Really? How many do you think?
None.
Really?
I think that whole fucking first one was staged and they killed a guy for no fucking reason than to make Trump
Do you
look
actually think
stronger
they
than
kill
he
a
is.
guy?
Yeah, I think that guy's dead.
Really?
I do. And I think he doesn't give a shit less about it because he doesn't give a shit less about anything but his agenda.
You don't think there's a random face that was generic
No.
by AI?
No, I
So you think a human being is gone?
I think a fireman's dead because they're a bunch of fucking assholes.
Okay. Do you believe in the electoral college versus the popular vote?
I think it should be a popular vote. The electoral college is based in racism because they wanted the southern states to feel like they had more power than what they really did because all they gave a shit about was rich, white, landowning men.
I say, president and vice president being first one most popular, because you said popular. So do you think popular should be president?
I think we should vote on every position. I don't think it should be
every individual position.
I do. I don't think it should be a
Holy
ticket.
shit. Okay.
I don't think we should vote for a combination of president and vice president. I think we should vote for a president and I think we should vote for a vice president. Because again, I don't necessarily want these people to think the same way. I'm going to go back to my coaching. I never hired a coach that thought exactly how I thought. I hired people that would push me to be better and would have different ideas so that when I sat there and argued with them, and arguing being a loose term because we never had fights.
No.
It was a good conversation on this is why I feel the way I feel. This is the way you feel the way you feel. We're going to come to an agreement. I don't know how many times you said to me the year you coached with me, how many fucking kids are you going to keep because they're fast? And I said, every one of them.
Right.
And we kept every one of them. And by the end of the year, like 5 had weeded themselves out and quit or whatever. They just went away.
Yep.
And I ended up with, the girls that we needed. And then still at the end of that season, there were girls I said goodbye to because you're not the kid that I want in this program.
Correct. And again, like I'm going to send a person from first to second without asking you a single. Nick, why'd you send him? Have you fucking seen him run? Right? Like, congrats. They're out once in 99 times, right?
Well, and that's just it. I mean, as a leader, if you surround yourself with people that think the same exact way that you do, you're never getting better. You're never progressing as a leader. You're never progressing your program or your country or anything else. You're just keeping the status quo because you don't want to rock the boat. You just want to be king shit. I was never interested in being king shit. I wanted to get better.
So I want to move on to, do you have an opinion on clean energy?
Yeah, I think I'm a proponent of clean energy because I think it's the only thing that will continue to produce in the future. We're going to run out of fossil fuels.
Oh,
I mean, at some point there will be no more coal. There will be no more oil. We're using it in abundance.
In the U.S. or in the world?
In the world.
Really?
Yeah. At some point, it's not an infinite resource. It's a finite resource.
And I mean this in all due respect, and I'm not
in my lifetime.
I'm not judging the question. Okay, so not in your lifetime.
Not in my lifetime.
And then what about? Do you think we'll run out of fossil fuel or what did you say?
Coal
before heat? What do you call that? It's not. Sorry, climate change takes effects and floods us or does or anything like that?
I don't know. I always subscribe to the George Carlin school of thought, and the George Carlin school of thought is the earth will be just fine. We'll be gone.
Sure.
So at some point, the earth will just get rid of us like it got rid of dinosaurs and cavemen and everything else.
Sure.
The majority of species that have lived on this planet are dead.
Okay.
And they're not coming back. Is that sad? Sure. I'm very sad we'll never see a woolly mammoth. Would I be really sad if another human never existed? Probably not, because most humans are fucking horrible. I can throw a stone and hit 18 stupid people with that fucking stone, but I can't hit 18 really smart people that I like.
It's kind of weird how that works.
It is.
Opinion, do you feel there's more Republicans or Democrats today than there was 4 years ago?
No. I think
same.
I think honestly,
do you think the exact same outcome is going to happen?
I think there's probably more Democrats now than there are Republicans from 4 years ago.
Okay.
I think the turnout's going to be the important part because you have a lot of people.
Ooh.
You have a lot of people that are Democrats that are pissed off about Palestine, or they're pissed off about not feeling like they had a say in who the Democratic nominee was going to be. I think all of that's bullshit, in all honesty. I mean, would it be nice if we weren't propping up Israel all the time? Sure, maybe. But the problem we have is there our ally, Palestine is not. And you have these long treaties and traditions of this is who you support. You can't just go and turn your back on them on a fucking whim. Is Palestine entitled to a land? Absolutely they are. Is Israel entitled to a land? Absolutely they are. Are they going to live in peace together? Fuck no, they're not. But that's more of a problem for Israel and Palestine than it is for the United States of America. Are we kind of the police of the world? Sure, we are. Should Netanyahu be in power in Israel? No, he should not. He's a reprehensible fucking human being. He's a piece of shit. But do we have the
It's not our country.
do we have the power to take him out? Yes. Should we? No. Have we done this before? Absolutely. We have absolutely gone into other countries and destroyed the government that was there and put in our own government that was loyal to us for some period of time. It happened in Iraq. We helped bring Saddam Hussein to power.
Oh, absolutely.
It happened in Afghanistan. We helped bin Laden fight against the Russians. Do we make good decisions? Probably not. But again, we make short-sighted bullshit decisions because we have megalomaniacs running shit, and they're more interested in their own pursuit than they are what's actually good for the people. Does Trump give a shit about poor people? No. Does he need them to vote for him? Yes.
Absolutely.
He sits there and he makes them feel very special. He tells them all the time, you're very special. Does he believe that? Fuck no. He doesn't give a shit about you. If you were on fire, he wouldn't piss on you to put the fire out. And those are the things that piss me off. Am I a fan of Kamala Harris? No. Am I a fan of Gretchen Whitmer? No. They're fucking politicians. As far as I'm concerned, they work for me.
Right.
Am I a fan of Michael Jordan? Yes.
Right.
I'm a fan of Michael Jordan. He played basketball very well. I enjoyed watching it. That brought me joy. Am I a fan of Walter Payton? Yes. I think he's the greatest football player of all time. It brought me joy to watch him. Am I looking back in my memories and seeing for 8 years ago, all these memories of the Cubs, they just clinched the National League championship series and they're headed to the World Series 8 years ago today or yesterday or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah, that's great. I'm a fan of that team. I'm not a fan of Barack Obama. Do I think he was a good president? Yeah, I think he was a good president. He's one of the better presidents I've lived through.
Sure.
Am I going to fawn over him if I see him? No. He's a man. He was elected to do a fucking job. He did his job. I'm not propping these people up to be something they're not, which is what conservatives, or more importantly, Trumpists have done with Trump. They're propping him up to be somebody he's not. He's the next coming of Jesus. All right. I'm not a religious person. Okay. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in fairy tales. And for me, every religion has always been a fairy tale. If Jesus is a thing, I'm not saying the man didn't exist. I'm saying if he really was the son of God, and as the story goes, he wouldn't have shit to do with Trump. He wouldn't piss on Trump if Trump was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
He was a poor brown man from the Middle East that wanted to help the poor and the downtrodden in the world. Trump's the anti-Jesus.
Correct.
And you can sit there and spin it however the fuck you want with your twisted religion bullshit or your twisted conservative bullshit. It doesn't change what it is. He's no one to look up to. He's no one to admire. He's no one to follow.
So I can't agree with you in that sentiment.
Okay.
Follow. Is he somebody to look up to? I have to say yes.
Why?
The man has literally proven that he can defeat stupidity to make people give money, believe in him, and he's been I don't know the number, right? I don't want to be this guy. 5 or 7 times he's been bankrupt, right? And he's always just said, "Hey, oh, that other like he has the ability to make other people believe that somebody else fucked up versus him."
So let me ask you something.
Sure,
Is Hitler somebody to look up to?
absolutely not.
Why? He had the same ability.
No, so
He
Hitler,
he could get people to believe
correct,
the same type of bullshit that Trump spews.
correct. No, Hitler,
Same type of bullshit.
no, Hitler was based off of so. All right, so Trump will say, "I hate Mexicans and fuck Mexicans." He will not say kill Mexicans.
No, he has.
I send it to me.
No, he has.
Send it to me. Right, like literally send it to me.
He is at the point of
like send it to
yeah,
me. We'll
that's fine.
talk.
He
But,
is
like,
he is at the point of he's going to lock up or kill his political opponents.
but he also has fuckface from Cuba in Florida, who I think is worse than he.
What, DeSantis?
Ron DeSantis, yes, right.
Yeah,
Like,
but again, he does the same type of his rhetoric is the same as Hitler's. It's the same.
no
Mussolini, same thing.
Mussolini. Yeah, say I agree, right? But like Mussolini, but the idea is like, okay, he hates all immigrants versus a specific genocide, right? Like, and so yes,
He wants to round these people up.
Trump's going to be a bigger killer of something, and until we see a mass genocide of a person, then we'll have a conversation.
Who did Hitler round up?
Blonde hair, blue eyed.
No, that's who he liked.
So,
So he rounded up the Jews,
correct.
but also black people, also gay people,
Anything.
also mentally handicapped people. It wasn't just the Jews.
It was 6 million people, right? I mean,
It was predominantly Jews, but it was anybody that didn't fit his type. Mind you, he wasn't his type. He had black fucking hair.
right.
He
right,
liked blonde haired, blue eyed people. He was not.
correct. But until I see, and I will agree when it comes to anti-abortion that he's killed people, sure, okay. But until there is a chamber of people gathering an amount of people, I will never compare a human to Adolf Hitler, right?
I will. This
And
rhetoric can be the same. Just because he didn't have the ability to yet round these people up doesn't mean that's not something that could come.
it's not about the fact it could.
Trump is very much Hitler in the early 30s. He's not Hitler in the late 30s, early 40s.
And that's where the question becomes: if he loses, what happens, right? Like,
He would absolutely incite violence.
absolutely agree, which scares me.
Which brings us back to what will his followers do? His followers will do exactly what he says. I watched a documentary the other day on, was the election stolen?
Mhm.
And one of his people in his inner circle sat there and goes, when he was sitting there saying, "We'll walk down to the Capitol, you and I together." She's like, he never would have done that. He fucking hates those people. He hates being around people. He's a germaphobe. He has no interest in doing anything with those fucking people, but they ate it up. And I sat there the entire time going, why are you fucking doing this? Because it's all about his ego. Just like in the 30s, everything was about Hitler's ego. Everything was about Mussolini's ego.
Mhm.
And that's what it
But
comes down to is
because-
their ego.
But to compare two people who have had genocide to a human who just hates people is way different, right? If you were to compare,
Would you put it past Trump to commit those genocides?
no.
No, I wouldn't
Would
either.
I put it past? No. But would I say that they're compared, right? If we go through history books, I hope that Donald Trump never gets fucking mentioned besides the fact that, like,
He's the worst president ever.
like, I wouldn't say that, right? Like, look, it's gonna go president, 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 president listed, right? And like, I hope that my kid just literally just goes, "Oh, Trump, Biden, Harrisville,
So-
right? Like it rambles it on like it's a fucking country song.
So we talk about, has Trump not. So let's talk about the Central Park Five for a minute.
You know more about this than me.
I do. I know quite a bit about this. So the Central Park Five is five black and Hispanic kids in New York that were rounded up in the late 80s, early 90s for raping a jogger.
Runner.
Yeah, somebody that was running.
Okay.
And Trump took out a full page ad, I want to say either in the Post or the Times, that basically said he wants these kids put to death because they're guilty. They weren't guilty yet, but he wants them put to death because they're guilty. They spent 20 some odd years in jail for this crime. They were exonerated. They were really railroaded into confessing because they were kids. They were like 13, 14 years old at the time. They didn't have their parents with them. They were kept away. They were interrogated for hours. Police kept picking apart the stories and basically just browbeat them into admitting to something they didn't do. And then, of course, 20 years later, they found the person that actually did it. And all of these kids end up getting released.
Yep.
Donald Trump still has said that they should have been put to death.
Really?
Yeah, because they were guilty.
And
He doubles down on the bullshit because he can't A, admit that he's wrong, or B, give a shit about new information coming out.
sure.
He's just a vile piece of shit.
And I'm not gonna say you're wrong, but right, what I will say is until he proves to have done the murder or force people, right? Actually, you know what? I will compare him to Hitler for the first time. David, I have stood behind anybody that says anything compared to Hitler is a fucking moron, right? I was driving behind a car the other day and it said Hitler killed 6 million people. You control the destiny for 6 million per year, right? And I was talking about abortion.
Mm-hmm.
And that person was a fucking moron instantly to me. But the fact is, January 6th, right? This person decided they were going to kill a human being named Mike Pence because he did not agree with his stance.
Yeah.
Right. That's where my problem lies, right? When David, you and I don't agree on everything.
We don't agree on many things.
A lot of things constantly.
Mhm.
But we'll have a conversation about it. And either you will go, Nick, yep, we agree upon that, or nope, we don't agree upon this, and the two of us will just go, okay, this is a conversation, and we'll bring it back up a million times, and we'll still disagree upon it. And then eventually one day, one of the two of us will go, all right, I get it. But the fact is this man wanted another man hung, and I
Mhm.
think that's absolutely fucking atrocious.
Mhm.
Right? Because he lost something.
Do you know of anybody I want dead?
No.
There are people.
I would assume, but like, do I know of them?
So, like, the guy that tried to rape my wife,
Yeah.
I want him dead. He wasn't successful, but I want him dead
Right.
because he tried to hurt my wife.
Right. I can see that.
I don't give a shit if Trump's dead or alive. I just don't want him
Around.
in any type of power position to have any type of power over my life.
I get that.
I think, again, the president should not really affect me on a day-to-day basis. And when Trump was in office, he affected me on a day-to-day basis because he was always saying and doing stupid shit. And the stupid shit affected my life. They sit there and they talk about these fucking great tax cuts that he gave. The tax cuts were great if you're in the upper 1%. They're
Nope.
fucking horrible if you're not in that upper 1%.
Nope. I would like to clarify that.
Go ahead.
Okay. The tax cuts Donald Trump gave were great. For you, for me,
They were not.
they were.
They were not.
They were.
They were not.
For 4 years.
They were not even good for 4 years.
They were okay for 3.5
They
years.
were not.
You had an extra $20 in your pocket.
Right. I had an extra $20 in my pocket every 2 fucking weeks. What
Correct.
does that do for me?
And nothing.
Nothing.
What does it do? 20 extra bucks.
It does nothing.
But after that, What happened was you lost that tax
Uh-huh.
break, and then the company you work for, who got the $200, maintained their 200. Sorry, actually, by that I mean, so you got a $20 discount every 2 weeks.
Yep.
You got $20 extra in your pocket for the 4 years, 3.5 years, however long
Whatever it was.
to implement this. Okay, so it was a great tax cut for that period of time. We didn't go into more debt because of that, right? We didn't do it. It's fine. So
Not for the $20 I got,
correct.
but for the money that they got.
For the $200 million every fucking year that your company got, right? So he gave a break. So I will give him credit for the fact that he gave America a little bit more money, but also fucked America over for the rest of
Right.
because
At what point?
that tax break now lasts for like what was it 20 or 40 years or something like that?
For the rich,
Yeah.
it's a lifetime.
For-
It's their lifetime.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Okay, so
He gave them a tax break for their lifetime because that's all he gives a shit about.
Right.
They keep talking about Harris is going to raise taxes. Harris is going to raise taxes. 100 fucking percent she's going to raise taxes. They're worried about the capital gains tax. Well, she's going to tax your unrealized capital gains. So if you sit there and you buy a house at $100,000 and in 5 years it's now worth $150,000, she's going to tax $50,000. No, she's fucking not. You don't understand how unrealized capital gains work. She's not taxing your primary fucking residence. She's taxing you
yeah,
on all of your investment properties.
correct.
If you make over X dollar, which I think is like $200 million.
I heard 400,000.
No. That was Biden's plan, was no taxes if you're under 400,000. So the unrealized capital gains tax, I'm going to look it up.
Let's say we can do that right now.
We're going to.
Unrealized capital gains tax. $100 million. Middle class America.
Okay, so 100 million.
So
do you make that?
no, God, no, God.
You own quite a bit of real
I
estate.
do okay in life.
You own quite a bit of real estate. Do you make 100 million a year?
No.
So
David, I like you.
Yeah.
100 million bucks. You think I'm fucking here talking to you?
No, you're not.
Like I like
You're on an island
I
somewhere.
like you.
Yeah, you don't love me. You're on an island somewhere having a margarita.
100 fucking million a year at 30 fucking 5 years old. Oh, but
again,
like David, I like.
And again,
you.
going back to this, you have more than most people I know.
Yeah. I would
Are
agree.
you worried about paying unrealized capital gains now that you've looked up and it's 100 million bucks?
Even no,
No, you're not. Why?
because I don't fucking make it.
If you did make 100 million a year, are you that worried about it?
Yes,
Why?
depending on the amount.
Okay, it depends on the amount. But are you really, if you're making 100 million a year?
I will for this day and for the rest of my life think that anything over 50% of my income should never
I won't.
Right,
See, and that's where we're
That's
different.
where we're different. But like again, you go.
We need to go back to the tax rate of the 70s.
You go 49%. I'm fucking okay with this. Never in my life should anything over. Never. I should always earn more than I've spent.
Why was
always-
the middle class so successful until Reagan? Why?
Earn? Why am I going to earn for you, even though it's 10%? Like, sure,
Again,
my 100th millionth dollar
Why?
at 10%.
Why was the middle class so successful until Reagan?
It wasn't.
It was so successful because if you made over $10 million, they taxed every dollar over 10 million
Way
and
too much.
95%.
Correct. It's way too much.
Bullshit.
Way
You
too
don't
much.
need that.
I don't care what you think I need.
I'm telling you right now, you don't fucking need it.
I don't
Pay
need
the
it.
taxes.
Doesn't mean I don't want it.
They got rid of all the taxes, so now none of these people pay anything.
Again, 49, right, and I agree. Like, again, if you go to 49.99%, as long as I make that little bit extra,
So we're 40
if
years
I put in,
later.
if I put in 50% if I put in 100% of the work, I should be able to at least capitalize 50%.
So
of the fucking
we're
money.
40 years later.
Yep.
Should that number still be 10 million? Maybe not.
No. 100 million?
Let's say it's 50.
Sure.
So everything you make over 50 million this year, they're going to tax at 90%. I'm okay with that.
No, I'm not.
I don't care.
I'm still not.
I'm okay. If I'm making that money, I'm perfectly fine with that because I'm not missing that money.
But you're missing fucking 45% of what? Actually, you're missing 95% of that money.
I don't give a shit.
I know because you
50 million's enough a year.
You say that now until you get to that point.
No, I would say that at that point.
No,
I 100% would.
bullshit. Like so $80 million of a net worth right now gives you a private jet. if you think $80 million, whatever, that doesn't give you a private jet when you get to that point, right? Like at 95% tax upon, granted, like it's so hard because like you'd have to like reevaluate the fact of like how much things would cost versus whatever. And it's a very hard statistic to figure out like if things didn't go up, if things didn't do. But again, I don't feel anybody should put any like David, if you put effort in, do you want paid for it? Like
So-
you want paid for every hour.
Here's
No, like we're gonna go back. Sorry, we're gonna go back to your fucking job. Okay. So if you put in 1 hour, do you want paid 1 hour's worth of fucking time?
I mean, essentially,
Do you-
yes, but I
yes,
don't get
exactly.
paid that right now.
But right, because you get taxed on it. But if you put in the hour, you want paid 1 hour. Now, if you put in okay, so if I told you, hey David, you're gonna have to work 70 hours this week, but for hours 40 to fucking 70, you have to work it. Mind you have to work it 40 to 70, but you only make fucking 5% from 40 to 70. Are you okay with making that money? You're gonna work fucking
I guess it depends on what I'm making.
30
It depends on what I'm making.
your salary. Okay, so let's say you
Yeah, if my salary's what it is right now, no, I'm not okay with it.
Exactly.
If my salary's 10 times what I am right now, yeah, I'm okay with that.
But
Because how much do I need? So
you are for the 10 seconds.
The difference here, Nick, is that when you're looking at these people, so you're Nick Watkins, you're running Nick Watkins LLC.
which is
you have
my LLC.
you have 10 employees.
I do.
You have now you're making $51 million this year.
Yep.
And you're paying your employees less money because you can. Let's say you're paying a minimum wage.
Sure.
Okay, and minimum wage in Michigan, let's say, is $11. It's around there.
So
let's say you're paying them $11 an hour, those 10 employees, and they're working their 40 hours a week and doing whatever they're doing.
yep.
The reason they're saying that you're going to pay more taxes on that extra million because you're not actually allowing your employees to make actual money. So instead, if you want to avoid paying all of that, pay your fucking employees better. Now you're not making 51 million, now you're making 50.
So, right, if I go from making 51 million and I'm paying 11 and I go to pay them 25,
Okay.
okay, I still deal with an employee issue because, right, you're me, but you're liberal, David.
Mhm.
So now you're going to pay them 26. So my employees leave me to come work for you.
Maybe, maybe not.
We don't want to play the maybe game, right? Fine. Okay, they won't do it for 26. Will they do it for 27?
It depends
Will
on
they
the
do it for
person.
28?
It depends on the
Exactly.
person.
And so why should I have to sit here and take 7 months to figure out the person and what
You
price?
have to do that now when they make no fucking
That's
money.
exactly it. But like again, the economy will slow down because nothing will fucking buy, nothing will sell. People will constantly go. People will constantly
People say
come.
that, but that's not
It's-
the way shit
it's-
happens. Right now,
I've dealt with this.
right now we pay a decent salary.
Who's we?
My business.
Break room.
Right.
No, I mean you guys pay fucking okay.
We pay a decent salary.
I don't know about decent. I mean you pay okay, the people you pay salary to, decent. The hourly rate sucks ass.
Because we don't have a lot of hours to give people. It's a part-time job.
Correct?
But making $15 an hour at a part-time job is not a bad deal.
For who?
The people that are working.
But why? But you expect them to work certain hours, don't you?
We expect them to work when we're open.
Correct. You expect them to work the hours you want them to work.
Again, if they're not available, they just don't work.
But then they don't make the decent salary.
They still make what they make hourly. We're not cutting anybody's pay.
But if they can't work Friday night from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock, you're not paying them.
Right.
Correct? So like
What's your point?
my point is you're not guaranteeing them money. You're not guaranteeing them a life. You're guaranteeing them an opportunity.
I still don't see your point.
You said, hey, I will pay you if you come work, I'll pay you $15 an hour for 4 hours, $60, right? Which is an opportunity that you have to make.
Uh-huh.
Or you can come work for me at those opportunities at $25 an hour.
Uh-huh.
And who are they going to go work for?
It's going to depend on the person.
Exactly. So, like, put it up to the person, put it up to the thing, put it up to the ability. Granted, now companies will take advantage of that and they'll play up.
And
the
that's
fact-
unfortunately what they do.
correct. And that's exactly
I will tell you right now that more often than not, the people would rather work here. because of how they're treated.
Oh, 100% versus working for me. Like, I absolutely agree. My guys are treated like fucking, like, granted, my guys walk all over me.
They're treated well. It's not like they're treated poorly.
No, right? Like, they get anything they want.
And for you, it's more of a full-time job because you're constantly buying homes.
Correct.
For us, we're open 24 hours a week.
Correct.
So yeah, if we, like yesterday, we had 2 off-scheduled appointments. 2 of our employees came in and worked those hours because they wanted extra hours. They were there. Here you go.
Yep.
With the glass pulverizing thing, we want to make Nick more of a full-time employee when that starts to take off because we need you to bust the fucking glass up. You're trained and know how to do that. You're on the insurance to do that. So that's something that, could become full-time for him.
Yep.
I've said before, I would like this at some point to be more of a profit-sharing company than just a business because I want everybody to be enriched by what this is.
Yep.
And those are the hopes. We're just not there yet.
It's going to take a long time for you guys to get there, right?
It probably will.
You're going to need to hire senior people, which sounds really bad, right? I mean, you're going to need you're going to need the me, right? I've given you more free money than your employees have ever given you, right? And right, that's Fairlane, or sorry, Station 300. That's the other bars, things like I've given you places to get glass because of my drinking ability than your employees have given you from things, right? And so, but it's gonna come, right? Like eventually you're gonna have that. Granted, the problem is your 50-year-old that's been let's call her Stacy, right? Stacy's gonna come in here, she's gonna work for 30 years. Your wife will be 80, and then she'll be like, hey, this bar said this, and so finally you'll cut it. But like, I don't think that even if you're a profit sharing thing, right? So at profits, you're still going to pay taxes on that money. So no employee is going to work for 5%, right? That's where the problem in lies with me. So you guys make 10 million bucks, right? Now you're profit sharing at what point, right? Now you have to figure this all out. $1 million bucks, we're gonna start profit sharing. Great. But like no, again, I never feel 95% should ever go to anywhere else. And again, you're gonna sit here and go, hey, it's profit and it's whatever. So you're spending it out, you're doing that, you're gifting, but you're still gonna get taxed on it because it is employee, it's profit. So again, the word profit is fucking where it's gonna fuck you.
Again, it comes to the business. Let's say the business makes 200,000.
Yep.
Okay, and we've decided that let's say we do it based on how much people work.
Correct.
So
which is how it should be done.
Right. So Dawn works the most; she gets the biggest piece of the pie. Let's say Chris works the second most, so he gets X amount, and then the workers that are here, work this amount, so they get, let's say Dawn gets 30%, Chris gets 15%, and everybody else shares the remaining piece of the pie.
But that's bullshit.
What?
That's absolute bullshit.
What?
Your breakdown.
Yeah, I'm just throwing numbers.
No, even if you threw 10, 5, and 2, the fact is Dawn is entitled and allowed to make the most money and the most hours.
Yeah.
Chris, right. So that's bullshit. Like that's not fair. That's not right. That's not how it should be. Right. So what if me as an employee wants to work the most? What if me as an employee wants the most hours? What if I want that 30% fucking bonus? What if I want that? Like
put it in the work.
But what if I'm putting in the work? What if I pick up? So granted, right? Dawn, she works Monday to Tuesday. You're closed, right? I don't know if you're closed Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
Right, Monday to she works. I don't have the ability. You're not giving me the opportunity. You're not giving me this.
We have given people those opportunities
once in a while.
They don't.
Once in a while.
No, we have given those opportunities. They don't take them and run. So Dawn has
but like
Dawn has hired.
What about me?
Dawn has hired 2 different people to set up large groups.
Correct.
And said, I'm going to pay you X number of dollars per person that comes in.
Yeah.
And you know what that turned into?
Nothing.
If they email me, that means I got them. No bullshit. It's set up for them to email you. Why am I paying $5 per person for them to email the person that the email set up for? All they did was schedule an appointment that we got them. Why am I paying for that? And I said that to Dawn time and time again, and she's like, well, you're probably right. If they bring in a group, perfectly fine paying them for the people that come in.
Yeah.
But if they're not cultivating that relationship, why the fuck am I paying them for it?
Because for the first year you should pay them, and then the second year they should grow that by 10%.
They do nothing to bring in any business.
But again, you have to go year by year. You can't. And this is opinion versus fact.
And
So
again,
let's finish up political this, and we'll get to whatever. So, are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, sorry. Pineapple Loranthropus. Say, really? I'm trying to figure out if it says the whole entire. Anyway, philanthropist with some pineapple. They were great. Mr. David Siwik.
Jim.
And
Lowry.
Jim Lowry. Thank you so much for joining us. I was like, I know it's Jim. I just don't know his last name. Thank you for joining us. As always, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your family. We hope you enjoyed the last 45 minutes of us trying to get off air, and
arguing.
Right. But like, this is what Bucks and Brews is, because David and I do not agree. So again, thanks for joining us, and we'll hope to see you again next time.
Yeah, we'll be back soon.
You've dialed in.
To Bucks and Brews, you might hear something
You can use.
like tips on your cash or tips on the suds.
You're gonna want to
The
use.
smarts of these
Because
stuff.
they know the brews.
And they know the Bucks, and they know they can't help the stubborn fucks.
So listen up, because shit's not funny.
Save yourself some
Beer money. Bucks.
and brews.
Bucks and
Bucks
brews.
and brews.
Brews.
Bucks and brews.